Chapter 964. After the realm of intent, it was the realm of soul. The so-called realm of soul had already transcended the mortal world and was not limited to weapons. Even if it was just grass, wood, bamboo, or stone, it could exert great power. The realm of soul gave weapons souls. It was the person who was powerful, not the weapon. Above the sea, Lu Yuan stood upright. He pointed his finger, and the seawater gushed out crazily and condensed into a water spear. Lu Yuan grasped the air, and his body exuded an inexplicable aura. He stabbed out with his spear. In an instant, the spear light crossed the sky, and a blue spear aura that was thousands of feet long struck the sea. Suddenly, the seawater exploded, splashing up hundreds of meters. Where the spear aura fell, the seawater caved in and formed a huge whirlpool. The surrounding seawater poured in crazily, causing the entire sea to surge. Lu Yuan slightly retracted his strength. The water spear in his hand turned into seawater again and flowed into the sea. It seems that you have broken through to the realm of spear soul. The power of this spear is no less than the attack power of the Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear. A voice sounded in Lu Yuan's ears. Lu Yuan turned around and saw Pacizi's graceful figure quietly appearing. I have to thank you for sparring with me every day. That's why I was able to break through smoothly. Thank you. Looking at Pacizi in front of him, Lu Yuan said softly, "Why are you suddenly so polite to me? I'm really not used to it." Pacizi shook her head and said, "I'm not being polite. I should thank you. After all, you've helped me so much." Lu Yuan said softly, "Since you want to thank me, how do you want to repay me? You can't just thank me verbally, right?" Poseidon asked softly, a hint of a smile in her eyes. "How do you want me to thank you?" Lu Yuan looked into Pacizi's eyes. "As long as it doesn't violate my principles and is within the scope of my ability, I can do it as long as you say it." "Well, let's not talk about it for the time being. Let's leave it for later. I have to think about it carefully." Pacizi's beautiful blue eyes flashed as she said softly, "All right, it's up to you. Let me know when you've made up your mind." Lu Yuan said softly as he walked on the surface of the sea. Pacizi moved and followed beside Lu Yuan. "Just now, I felt an unusual opportunity from your spear. Not only was it powerful, but it also had a spirituality. That spear light did not seem like a dead object, but more like it had a life of its own." Pacizi said softly as he walked, "This is the special thing about the soul realm. In the hands of a soul realm expert, weapons are not dead objects but living things. For example, just now, I could use water to condense a spear that was no weaker than the Dragon Emperor's Draining Spring Spear. A rank 98 Douluo can fight an ultimate Douluo after comprehending the soul realm. The power of the soul realm is beyond imagination. To me now, anything can be used as a spear, unless it's a super divine weapon like the Dragon Emperor's Draining Spring Spear or other powerful divine weapons. The rest of the weapons are about the same to me. This is the power brought by one's realm." Lu Yuan said gently. Hearing this, Pacizi nodded gently. "You've comprehended the soul realm. Has the reward for the third test been released?" Pacizi looked at Lu Yuan and asked, "Don't you know?" Lu Yuan looked at Pacizi in confusion. Didn't she always know about his reward for every test? "I'm not sure. I didn't receive any notification from a sea god." Pacizi shook his head and said softly. Lu Yuan glanced at Pacizi and said indifferently, "You've passed the sea god's third test. You're rewarded with 3 soul rings and the permanent right to use the sea god's light." "What?" Pacizi was shocked when he heard that. The permanent right to use the sea god's light? Wasn't the sea god's light exclusive to the sea god? How could it be given to others? Look, as if seeing Pacizi's surprise, the sea god's trident mark on Lu Yuan's forehead emitted a resplendent golden light. This golden light was dignified and sacred. Wherever the golden light enveloped, all the sea spirit beasts retreated. This was the real sea god's light. As for the one guarding the steps, it was only a semi-finished product. It's really the sea god's light. Seeing this scene, Pacizi couldn't help but exclaim. He didn't expect the sea god to really pass the right to use the sea god's light to Lu Yuan. I didn't lie to you, did I? Lu Yuan retracted the sea god's light and chuckled softly. You really didn't lie to me. Pasizi smiled bitterly and said, Your 3 tests of a sea god are more like the inheritor of the sea god than Zhu Zhuqing's 9 tests of the sea god. She didn't get anything except the sea god's affinity. However, not only did you get the full set of the sea god's 13 halberds, but you also got the right to use the sea god's light. Why do you think the difference is so big? Lu Yuan was silent for a moment. You shouldn't be asking him this question. You should be asking the sea god. Actually, I've always thought highly of you as the inheritor of the sea god. The sea god's test and rewards also prove this point. To be honest, if I had to die for you in the last test, I would be willing to do so. However, if I ask myself now, I'm not willing to do so. A strange look flashed across Pasizi's eyes as he spoke plainly. Hearing this, Lu Yuan frowned slightly. He looked at Pasizi with his double pupils. There was a faint sharpness in his eyes. Don't tell me you want to attack Zhu Qing in the 6th test? Don't forget what you told me back then. You said that you were willing, and I also said that I won't let you die. Even if you sacrifice yourself, I will revive you. But if you dare to do anything to Zhu Qing, then don't blame me for not taking into account our relationship. Pasizi's body trembled when he heard this. His deep blue eyes stared closely at Lu Yuan. If I really do attack her, what do you want to do? Kill me? Lu Yuan raised his head and stared into Pasizi's eyes. His eyes were sharp and carried a faint killing intent. However, Pasizi didn't shrink back. He stared intensely back at Lu Yuan. After a long while, Lu Yuan shifted his gaze and said faintly, You are one of the few close friends I have. It can even be said that you are my best friend. You have helped me a lot, and I am very grateful to you. However, if you want to harm Zhu Qing, I'm sorry, but I will definitely kill you. In my heart, I will never allow anyone to hurt my woman. I will kill whoever dares to touch her, and you are no exception. Lu Yuan's voice was very calm, but it was extremely firm, causing Pasizi's body to tremble slightly. A moment later, Pasizi regained her composure. Her red lips parted slightly as she said in an indifferent tone, I naturally won't go back on my word. Don't worry, I was just joking with you earlier. Pasizi glanced at Lu Yuan. Her eyes were dark and unfathomable. She gently moved her feet, and with a few flashes, Pasizi's figure disappeared. Chapter 965. Just a joke? Is it really just a joke? Lu Yuan's eyes flickered as he watched Pasizi's figure gradually disappear. Perhaps Pasizi hid it very well, but when Pasizi asked him that question, he really felt the murderous intent in Pasizi's heart. Although it disappeared in a flash, he did feel it. When Pasizi first arrived, she had already accepted her fate, and he didn't see her unwilling to accept it. But why all of a sudden had Poseidon change his mind? Lu Yuan could clearly see that Pasizi was unwilling to accept it. However, after he said that, Pasizi seemed to have let it go and didn't want to attack Zhu Zhuqing anymore. It was really strange. Even though Lu Yuan was extremely intelligent and scheming, he couldn't figure out what was going on with Pasizi. It's really hard to guess a woman's thoughts. No wonder there's a saying that a woman's heart is like a needle at the bottom of the sea. Lu Yuan shook his head and rushed towards the shore. You're going back to the continent? At the foot of the sea god's mountain, Hulina, Zhu Zhuqing, and Ning Rongrong surrounded Lu Yuan with astonishment on their faces. Yes, I've been on the sea god's island for almost 2 years. I don't know how the continent is like now. Furthermore, I've been at rank 80 for a year and a half. I have to get my 8th soul ring. Nana is already at rank 79. If I don't work hard, she'll catch up to me. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Catch up to you? Forget it. I won't be able to catch up to you in this lifetime. You don't even know how strong you are now. Is your soul power rank that important to you? Hulaina curled her lips and said snappily. It's quite important. If I can become a titled Douluo now, I can conquer the entire continent without any restrictions. No matter who is in front of me, I'll crush them all. But now, you can't do it now? Hulina asked. I can do it now, but it's just a little difficult. Lu Yuan said softly. What's so difficult about it? Is there anyone on the continent who can be your match? Even the deep-sea demonic whale king and senior Pasizi aren't your match, not to mention the others. I think even the beast god Dtion, who is ranked first on the savage beast list, is far from being your match. Hulina shook her head and said, "That's right. But if I'm surrounded by people, for example, the deep-sea demonic whale king and Pasizi fighting me at the same time, the result? What's the result?" Hulina asked. "In the end, I still won," Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. His current strength was not something that two demigods could deal with. With his demigod combat power and the newly comprehended spear soul, his strength had increased by a lot. He had reached an extremely high level. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Hulina couldn't help but roll her eyes at Lu Yuan. This guy is still like this. "Oh yes, speaking of Senior Pasizi, I haven't seen her recently." "And Obuchi, didn't you often chat with her in the past? Why aren't you going now?" Zhu Zhuqing's clear eyes blinked as she asked in confusion. "Why not? Isn't it because you're a little stiff with her?" Lu Yuan thought to himself, but he didn't say it out loud. Pasizi might have something to do recently. As for me, I'm going back to the continent soon, so I want to spend more time with you guys, Lu Yuan said softly. As for the fact that Pasizi once wanted to kill Zhu Zhuqing, he didn't say it out loud. Anyway, Pasizi didn't have such thoughts now, so there was no need to say it out loud to avoid unnecessary trouble. Really? Zhu Zhuqing didn't believe it. She always felt that it wasn't like that. "Of course it's true. What else do you think?" Lu Yuan asked back. "I thought you and Pasizi had some conflict. Senior Pasizi is a good person. You should give in to her. Don't always make her angry." Zhu Zhuqing's clear voice sounded. "She's a good person?" A strange look flashed in Lu Yuan's eyes. "She once wanted to kill you, and you still say she's a good person? My sister Zhuqing, you should be more careful." Lu Yuan sighed inwardly. "Yes, Senior Pasizi is indeed a good person." Ning Rongrong agreed softly. "Rongrong is right. Senior Pasizi is indeed a good person. Obuchi, since you're going back to the continent, you should at least tell Senior Pasizi. After all, you have such a good relationship. It's too much to leave without saying goodbye." Hulina looked at Lu Yuan and said in a serious tone, "I will." Lu Yuan nodded and said in a deep voice, with his relationship with Pasizi, it was indeed necessary to say goodbye. Sea God Palace. In front of the huge and majestic statue of the sea god, Pasizi was sitting cross-legged on a praying mat. Her beautiful eyes were slightly closed, and her breathing was steady and long. A series of footsteps sounded, and Lu Yuan's figure appeared behind Pasizi. "Why are you here?" Sensing the footsteps behind her, Pasizi said coldly. "Can't I be here?" Lu Yuan laughed softly. Pasizi was silent for a moment and did not answer. After a moment, she blinked and said indifferently, "You can say what you want to say. Once you're done, leave. I don't want to see you." "Is that so?" Lu Yuan smiled and said, "What a coincidence. I'm here to say goodbye. After I'm done, you really won't be able to see me anymore." "You're leaving?" Pasizi was shocked when she heard this. She quickly turned around and looked at Lu Yuan with her beautiful blue eyes. "Yes." Lu Yuan nodded. He found a praying mat and sat down in front of Pasizi. "Where are you going?" Pasizi asked after a moment of silence. "Back to the continent. I want to get my 8th soul ring." Lu Yuan laughed softly. "Is it dangerous?" Pasizi asked softly. There was a trace of concern in her beautiful eyes. He didn't even take a fancy to a god-bestowed soul ring. She didn't know what the 8th soul ring Lu Yuan wanted was, but her intuition told her that it was definitely not a simple soul ring, so she was a little worried. "Don't worry, it's not dangerous. I booked it in advance." Lu Yuan flashed a radiant smile. Pasizi was slightly absent-minded. Then, she quickly reacted and asked indifferently, "Are you coming back after getting your 8th soul ring?" "I don't think so. I'm definitely going to stay on the continent. There are still things waiting for me to deal with there." Lu Yuan said. "Then are you not worried about Zhu Zhuqing? If you don't come back, aren't you afraid that she will die in my hands?" "The 6th test is a life and death test," Pasizi asked with a deeper meaning. Chapter 966. I believe you won't do that. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Then you're wrong. I will definitely do that. Moreover, I won't show any mercy. She'll definitely die a horrible death. So you'd better kill me now. Otherwise, I'll definitely kill her, Pasizi said in a flat tone. However, her beautiful eyes were fixed on Lu Yuan as she stared at him. All right, don't lie to me. There's no killing intent in your eyes at all. I'm very sensitive to killing intent. You can't lie to me. Lu Yuan looked at Pasizi and said with a smile. Who says I don't have killing intent? I'm just hiding it tightly. You can't find it. Now that you're here, I can only hide. Once you leave, I guarantee that Zhu Zhuqing will die a horrible death. Pasizi snorted and said. Hearing Pasizi's snort, Lu Yuan raised his eyebrows and glanced over. Is that so? Seeing this, Pasizi didn't back down. Her beautiful blue eyes also stared at Lu Yuan. Of course. Why? Have you decided to kill me after hearing what I said? Pasizi asked indifferently. There was a trace of confusion in the depths of her eyes. Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile bitterly. He looked at Pasizi and asked softly, You're still holding a grudge? Who's holding a grudge? What are you talking about? I don't understand. Pasizi said indifferently. All right, I know you're still holding a grudge. I know that what I said that day made you very unhappy, but you can't blame it all on me. Zhu Qing and the others are my reverse scale. I'm very sensitive when it comes to them. That day, your eyes were filled with killing intent. It's hard for my emotions not to be agitated. Lu Yuan stared at Pasizi and said in a serious tone, So you're blaming me? Pasizi asked back. You're indeed at fault. Lu Yuan nodded affirmatively. Hearing this, Pasizi gently rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan, but some of the emotions in her eyes gradually disappeared. Instead, a somewhat complicated look surged in her eyes. Lu Yuan, do you know? I really don't want to die right now. Pasizi looked at Lu Yuan and said softly. Without waiting for Lu Yuan's response, she continued, I know that this is my destiny, and I accept it. I didn't care about this destiny in the past, but now I'm still not reconciled to it. I'm really not reconciled to it, you know? As she spoke, her eyes stared straight at Lu Yuan. I know. I can tell. I also said that I won't let you die. I will revive you. Facing Pasizi's gaze, Lu Yuan said softly, I don't believe you. You're not a god. How can you revive me? Pasizi said, Damn, I'm not a god now. I'll be a god one day. Do you think I won't be a god in this lifetime? Lu Yuan's mouth twitched, and he said angrily, with his talent, how could he not become a god? Of course you can become a god, but who knows if you'll still remember me when you become a god. After all, you'll already be a high and mighty divine king by then, and I'll just be a small character. Will you still care about me? Pasizi said faintly. Do I look like a heartless person to you? Lu Yuan said with amusement and anger. Yes. Pasizi glanced at Lu Yuan, nodded vigorously, and added, Very much. Lu Yuan, if you weren't a woman, I would definitely beat you up now. How dare you doubt my character? Lu Yuan said with some indignation. Do you have such a thing as character? Pasizi asked with some doubt. Lu Yuan, is that how you see me? Lu Yuan's face darkened. What else? How should I see you? Pasizi said with a smile. Looking at Lu Yuan's dark face, she couldn't help but want to laugh. This guy had been angering her all this time, and finally, she had angered him for once. Pasizi was now satisfied, and she could finally vent her anger. Laugh, laugh, laugh. You only know how to laugh. Hateful old woman. Lu Yuan curled his lips and said, What did you say? Pasizi's eyes suddenly flashed with anger. She hated it when Lu Yuan called her an old woman. Old woman, Lu Yuan said with a smile. You bastard. Are you looking for a beating again? Pasizi picked up a futon and threw it at Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan caught it and put it down gently. He looked at Pasizi with a smile. Okay, let's stop joking. Why should I stop joking just because you said so? Why should I listen to you? I want to continue. Baisaishi picked up another futon and said in an unreasonable manner, unwilling to let him off the hook. Okay, I was wrong. I shouldn't have called you an old woman. Not only are you not old at all, you're also a great beauty with peerless beauty. I can't help but feel pity for you. Lu Yuan spread his hands and said helplessly, "At least you have a good eye. In the end, you still said the truth." Pasizi said faintly and put down the futon in her hand. Listening to Pasizi's words, Lu Yuan's mouth twitched slightly. "Pasizi, you have changed. Are you still the Pasizi I know? How can you say such words?" After Pasizi put down the futon, she looked at Lu Yuan and her eyes became serious again. "When are you going to leave?" "Tomorrow," Lu Yuan said softly. "Is it so urgent?" Pasizi's eyes flickered slightly and said in a low voice, "It's not urgent. I have been here for a long time. It's time for me to go back. Besides, I have already told you everything." Lu Yuan said softly, "So you have arranged everything and came to see me at the end?" Pasizi said faintly with a trace of inexplicable in her tone. "I know you've been angry, so—" Lu Yuan said with some embarrassment. "Oomph." Pasizi snorted and glared at Lu Yuan with dissatisfaction. She asked, "So when will you be back?" "It's hard to say, but I will definitely be back. At the very least, I will be back during the Zhu Qing's 9th examination. I can't watch you die, right? At that time, I will keep your soul and revive you in the divine realm. Then, you will be able to enjoy immortality." Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. "You will only be back during the 9th examination?" Pasizi murmured as her eyes changed slightly. "Do you have so many things to do in the continent?" Pasizi asked. "There are quite a lot of things to do. It's fine if I don't go back. If I go back, I will not be able to leave for a while. So, I will have to trouble you to help me take care of Zhu Qing and the others." Lu Yuan said softly, "You want me to help you take care of Zhu Qing and the others?" Pasizi had a strange expression. She had once wanted to kill Zhu Qing. Chapter 967. Yes. Lu Yuan nodded and said, "Are you really not afraid that I will do something to her?" Pasizi asked. "I said that I believe in you. I won't misjudge people," Lu Yuan said softly. Hearing this, Pasizi's mouth rose slightly, and a touch of softness flashed in his eyes. "Lu Yuan, how long have we known each other?" "How long?" "It's been a long time. I'm almost 19 this year. I first met you when I was 14 years old. It's been more than 4 years since then," Lu Yuan said faintly, with a look of reminiscence on his face. "Yes, we've known each other for so long, and we've even been intimate for almost 2 years." Pasizi sighed faintly. Hearing this, Lu Yuan's eyes changed slightly. He always felt that Pasizi's words seemed to have a deep meaning. He always had an ominous premonition. "Do you still remember the scene when we first met?" Pasizi asked. "Of course I remember. You were the one who gave me a show of strength and saved my life." Thinking of this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but glare at Pasizi. Pasizi smiled awkwardly. Her lily-white hand gently stroked a strand of hair on her forehead. Her eyes flickered with uncertainty. She asked tentatively, "You don't still blame me, do you?" Lu Yuan glanced at Pasizi and said, "I was a little upset at that time, but I didn't care too much. I didn't put that person in my eyes from beginning to end. He was just an ant that could be easily killed. Other than jumping around a bit, he didn't have any ability. As for now, I don't blame you. You're my best friend. I don't care about such a small matter." "That's good. Actually, you know what? I regret it. If only I didn't take action at that time. Anyway, they have nothing to do with me. I've been worried that this matter would make you unhappy. Now it seems that I worried too much." Pasizi smiled gently, showing her ladle-like temperament. Pasizi's smile was very gentle and beautiful. Even Lu Yuan couldn't help but stare at her. Pasizi's beauty was not to be underestimated, especially when compared to Bibidin's temperament. Both had their own merits. "You look good when you smile," Lu Yuan praised. "Really? You've always been so angry with me. I thought you thought I was ugly." Pasizi laughed. "Then you've misunderstood me. It's because you're beautiful that I like to anger you. It's quite interesting to see you angry. I'm bored and want to relieve my boredom. If you were an ugly woman, I wouldn't even bother to look at you." Lu Yuan shrugged and said in a straightforward manner, "You're honest, but you're mad at me because you're bored. Are you trying to relieve your boredom?" Pasizi couldn't help raising his voice. "Well, Lu Yuan smiled embarrassedly. "Little bastard, you're really a little bastard. You always do things without reason. I really want to beat you up. Pasizi glared at Lu Yuan and said angrily. Lu Yuan was not annoyed. He chuckled. Seeing this, Pasizi rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan, but there was no trace of anger on her face. Pasizi looked at Lu Yuan and said nothing. After a while, she reached out and touched her cheek and asked, "Tell me, am I really beautiful?" Pasizi's tone had a hint of expectation. She wanted to get Lu Yuan's approval. Lu Yuan frowned. Pasizi's strange behavior was giving him a bad premonition. However, he could not answer Pasizi's question, and he couldn't go against his conscience and lie. Facing Pasizi's gaze, Lu Yuan nodded and said with certainty, "You're really beautiful. Out of all the people I know, only one can surpass you in terms of appearance. You're definitely the most beautiful woman in the world. Not only are you beautiful, but your temperament is also very moving." The person Lu Yuan was talking about who could surpass Pasizi was naturally Gu Yuna. Gu Yuna was the Douluo continent's #1 beauty, a perfect goddess. She was above almost everyone. Chihiro Snow was inferior to her in terms of temperament. Bibi Don and Pasizi weren't inferior to her in terms of temperament, but they were slightly inferior in terms of appearance. Besides Gu Yuna, Pasizi was definitely one of the top beauties. Even Lu Yuan had to admit that Pasizi was more beautiful than Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing. Is that so? Pasizi was very happy to receive Lu Yuan's praise. Her charming face had a gentle smile, and her eyes were gentle. However, she was still very curious about the woman Lu Yuan was talking about who was more beautiful than her. Women were always competitive. When they heard someone say that someone was more beautiful than them, they would always be a little unconvinced. For a beauty like Pasizi, who was arrogant in her heart, it was even more so. Therefore, she raised her doubts. "Gu Yuna, my fiancé," Lu Yuan said with a slight smile. "Another fiancé? How many fiancés do you have?" Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Pasizi asked somewhat anxiously. "6," Lu Yuan said. "6." Pasizi's voice couldn't help but raise a few octaves. "I've always said that you're a bastard, but you're really a bastard. You're really a womanizer," Pasizi said somewhat angrily. Even if I'm a womanizer, it doesn't seem to have much to do with you. Why are you so angry?" Lu Yuan said faintly. I'm angry for Zhu Zhuqing and the others. It's really not worth it for such an outstanding girl to be with a womanizer like you." Pasizi was first stunned, then said with a look of righteous indignation. "Is that so?" Lu Yuan asked indifferently. "Of course." Pasizi's eyes slightly evaded as he said softly. "I hope so." Lu Yuan sighed softly. From Pasizi's expression, he had already seen a lot of things. He stood up and sighed softly again. "You're leaving?" Pasizi asked. "I've said everything that needs to be said," Lu Yuan said softly. "You're leaving after you're done?" Pasizi asked indifferently. "If you're not leaving after you're done, are you going to stay here for dinner?" Lu Yuan said in amusement. Pasizi was silent for a moment, then waved his hand. "If you want to leave, then leave. Don't be an eyesore here." Hearing Pasizi's words, Lu Yuan shook his head slightly and walked out of the sea god palace. "Lu Yuan," Pasizi's voice sounded. Lu Yuan's figure paused, and a faint voice sounded. "Is there anything else? If it's tomorrow, I won't see you off." Pasizi bit her red lips and said softly, "Got it." Lu Yuan nodded. Just as he was about to leave, Pasizi's voice sounded again. "Wait," Pasizi called out again. As the voice rang out, Lu Yuan, who was about to take a step forward, paused again. "Don't forget what you said," said Poseidon. "You still owe me something," she said. "Of course I won't forget. As long as you've thought it through, just say the word. As long as it doesn't go against my principles, I'll do it for you to the best of my ability." Lu Yuan didn't turn around, but his clear voice sounded. "That's good. You may leave," Pasizi said softly. Lu Yuan nodded and walked out of the sea god palace. Chapter 968. The sea was blue, and the sun was hanging high in the sky. The deep-sea magic whale king had already returned to its 800 to 900 meters long body. Lu Yuan was holding Xiaolan's hand and standing on its back. Compared to the so-called ship, the deep-sea magic whale king's speed was much faster. In addition, Hulina and the others needed a ship to return, so Lu Yuan planned to let the deep-sea magic whale king carry them out to sea. All right, go back. There's no need to send us off. Looking at the people on the shore, Lu Yuan waved his hand and said softly, Obuchi, be careful on the road. Hulina whispered softly, Don't worry, with my strength, there's basically no one in the continent who can hurt me. But the few of you have to cultivate well on the Sea God's Island, understand? Lu Yuan said with a serious expression. Understood. Hulina, Zhu Zhuqing, Ning, and Rongrong nodded at the same time. And, if you need any help, you can look for the Pasizi. I've already talked to her. Also, if you have nothing to do, you could talk to her more. She's actually quite lonely. Speaking of the Pasizi, Lu Yuan's tone paused. He wasn't a fool, and there were many things he could see very clearly. Especially after yesterday's discussion, he was even more certain of it. Although he was very surprised by this matter, it wasn't without any benefits. At least, after killing Tang Chun, he wouldn't have to worry about the consequences. He also wouldn't have to worry about a dispute with the Pasizi or even a big fight. He definitely had to kill Tang Chun. If he didn't kill Tang Chun, he wouldn't be able to obtain the inheritance of the Azura God position. If he didn't obtain the inheritance of the Azura God position, he wouldn't be able to thoroughly comprehend the mysteries of the power of order. If he couldn't comprehend the mysteries of the power of order, it would affect his comprehension of the divine laws and become a god of laws. One had to know that becoming a god of laws was the most important part of Lu Yuan's victory over the divine realm. There couldn't be any accidents, so Tang Chun had to be killed. Furthermore, Tang Chen's surname was Tang, and he was a member of the Supreme Sky sect. He was Xiao Chen's natural enemy. Regardless of whether it was for personal or public reasons, Xiao Chun had to kill Tang Chen. Originally, if Tang Chun died in his hands, it might cause his friendship with Pasizi to fall apart. If it was serious, it might even affect Zhu Zhuqing's inheritance of the sea god. But now he wouldn't. He could do it without worry. To be honest, he actually cared a lot about his friendship with Pasizi. This was his first close friend. He really didn't have any strange thoughts from the beginning to the end. As for Pasizi, it was a long story. After all, he was too handsome, too outstanding, and too charming. After sighing inwardly for a while, Lu Yuan looked at Hulina and the others and asked, Do you remember what I said? Got it. Don't worry. We'll work hard on our cultivation. And Senior Pasizi, we'll also talk to her when we have time. Hulina and the others didn't doubt him and readily agreed. That's good. Then I'm leaving. Lu Yuan smiled and stepped on the back of the deep-sea magic whale king with his right foot. The deep-sea magic whale king immediately understood. Its tail swayed gently, and it began to move forward. Lu Yuan didn't turn around. He just looked straight at Hulina and the others. The deep-sea magic whale king was very fast. In a moment, it swam 2 miles away. This distance was already quite far. In the eyes of Hulina and the others, Lu Yuan's figure had long been out of sight. The group also packed up and prepared to go back. But for Lu Yuan, this distance was as close as a stone's throw. Lu Yuan smiled. Seeing Hulina and the others return, he also prepared to turn around. As he turned around, Lu Yuan's gaze swept across the area. Suddenly, his heart skipped a beat, and his gaze shifted to the side. Suddenly, a pair of eyes met his across the air. Lu Yuan's body froze, and the two of them stared at each other. You said you wouldn't come to see me off. In the end, you still came, Lu Yuan whispered. His eyes flashed as he looked at Pasizi, who was standing on the seaside. Pasizi was standing in a very remote place. There was a coconut tree next to her. If not for her eyes staring at Lu Yuan too directly, causing him to feel it, Lu Yuan really wouldn't have noticed her existence. Did you notice? A distance of 1 kilometer was nothing for Pasizi. She clearly saw Lu Yuan's movements. However, she didn't feel the slightest bit embarrassed. As for yesterday, she said she wouldn't see him off, but today, she came to see him off. That didn't exist. She still had this much self-control. Except for Lu Yuan deliberately teasing her. There were very few things that could break her graceful demeanor. Therefore, not only did she not look back, but she also looked straight at Lu Yuan. Her beautiful blue eyes flickered. This woman. Lu Yuan touched his nose and smiled at Pisizi. Then, he turned his head helplessly. Sigh. There were always women coveting his body. Originally, there was Duge Yin and Yi Lingling who didn't give up. Now, there was another one. However, there were 6 tigresses at home. Unless it was absolutely necessary, there were some things that he really didn't dare to do. He was still a little afraid of his wife. For example, a certain woman who threatened to stab him with a spider leg. Normally, he wasn't afraid of Bibi Dawn. He even dared to bully her occasionally. However, it was different when he had a guilty conscience. Not to mention, Chihiro Snow was sharpening the angelic holy sword. Just thinking about it made his scalp tingle. Coward. Seeing Lu Yuan turn around just like that, Pisizi bitterly clenched her teeth. Her emotions were already obvious enough. In the end, Lu Yuan still turned a blind eye to it. It was simply infuriating. If it was Tang Chun who was stubborn, she believed that he wouldn't have noticed it. However, Lu Yuan was a monkey. He definitely noticed it. However, he didn't make a sound. Recalling that Lu Yuan once called her old woman, Pisizi's eyes flashed with a trace of sadness. Do you dislike me for being old? Then why did you still provoke me? If you didn't anger me and leave such a deep impression on me, I wouldn't. No one has ever angered me like this. Pisizi sighed softly. She was indeed shocked by Lu Yuan's talent, appearance, and even strength. However, the real reason that made her feel great waves was the simplest Douqi. It gave her a wonderful feeling that she had never felt before. This feeling was very real and very unforgettable. Sigh, why didn't you be born a generation earlier? Pisizi sighed, looking at Lu Yuan's back that was becoming more and more blurry. Her beautiful eyes blinked slightly. A blue light flashed, and her figure suddenly disappeared. The sea surged. Lu Yuan and Xiaolan stood side by side. The sea breeze blew their hair, and the salty smell of the sea assailed their nostrils. Brother, you've been frowning. Are you unhappy about something? Tell Xiaolan. Xiaolan will help you solve it. Xiaolan pulled Lu Yuan's sleeve and said softly, You'll help me solve it? Looking at the innocent look on Xiaolan's face, Lu Yuan could not help but have a strange smile on his face. Chapter 969. Yes, Xiaolan is very smart. If Big Brother has any troubles, you can tell Xiaolan. Xiaolan will definitely try her best to help Big Brother solve it. Xiaolan said charmingly. Xiaolan is indeed very smart, but Big Brother's problem is very troublesome. You can't solve it. Seeing Xiaolan's serious expression, Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel warm in his heart. His originally strange smile turned gentle. Xiaolan really cared for him from the bottom of her heart. He couldn't hurt Xiaolan's heart. Big Brother, if you don't tell me, how do you know Xiaolan can't solve it? Xiaolan is very powerful. Big Sister Nana and the others have praised Xiaolan. Xiaolan raised her little head and said proudly. Seeing Xiaolan like this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile and gently rubbed her little head. Xiaolan's face showed a trace of enjoyment, but her pair of big blue eyes were still curiously looking at Lu Yuan. You really want to know? Lu Yuan's heart moved. Instead of hiding it in his heart, telling Xiaolan might be a good choice. Yes, Xiaolan wants to know. Xiaolan wants to share Big Brother's worries. Xiaolan said with a serious face. Then Big Brother will tell you, but you can't tell anyone. Lu Yuan said warmly. Xiaolan promises not to tell anyone. Xiaolan's voice was very clear, but it was full of determination. Lu Yuan smiled and waved his hand. An invisible aura covered his and Xiaolan's body, ensuring that their conversation wouldn't be leaked. Lu Yuan didn't want his gossip to be known by the deep-sea demon whale king. Waving his hand, Lu Yuan looked at Xiaolan. Xiaolan also looked at Lu Yuan with a curious face. Xiaolan, do you think Big Brother is good-looking? Lu Yuan asked softly. Big Brother is good-looking. Every time Xiaolan looks at Big Brother, I feel very comfortable. Big Sister Nana and the others like to stare at Big Brother when they have nothing to do. Xiaolon said sweetly. Yes, Big Brother is too good-looking. There are always people who like Big Brother, so Big Brother is a little distressed. Lu Yuan casually opened his mouth and said something that was incomparably infuriating. Big Brother, are you talking about Big Sister Yin and Big Sister Lingling? They all like Big Brother very much, just like Big Sister Nana and the others. They all like to look at Big Brother. It's just that Big Sister Nana and the others look at him openly, but Big Sister Yin and Big Sister Lingling look at him secretly, Xiaolon said. Oh, little Lon is concerned about these things? Lu Yuan asked curiously. No, it's just that Xiaolon also likes to look at Big Brother, so sometimes when I casually shift my gaze, I can see you. Xiaolon said sweetly. Didn't Big Brother notice? Xiaolon asked. Big Brother didn't really care. Lu Yuan shook his head and said, Oh. Xiaolon gave a soft "oh" and nodded. Little Lon, what do you think of Pasizi? Lu Yuan blinked and asked softly. Senior Pasizi is a very nice person. Why do you ask? The trouble that brother was talking about is her. Lu Yuan sighed and said, Does Senior Pasizi like Big Brother? Xiaolon asked curiously. Yes, that's why Big Brother is very distressed. Lu Yuan said, Why is Big Brother distressed? Senior Pasizi likes Big Brother, isn't that good? Xiaolon also likes Big Brother. Is Big Brother also distressed? Xiaolon asked puzzledly. Xiaolon, you're different from her. The nature of your likes is different. Big Brother is very happy that you like Big Brother, but she likes Big Brother, so it's distressing. Lu Yuan said. Why? Xiaolon frowned slightly. What's the difference? Looking at Xiaolan's appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh in his heart. This appearance was very similar to Gu Yuna in the past. He couldn't understand the meaning of like at all. A soul beast that had never been in love was ultimately too naive. Because Xiaolon, your like is just to look at Big Brother. You like Big Brother to be close to you. You like Big Brother to pamper you. And you don't have any other thoughts, right? Xiaolon nodded. But Pasizi's like is different. She wants to kiss Big Brother, and even wants to sleep with Big Brother. Lu Yuan sighed softly. Xiaolon also wants to sleep with Big Brother, but Big Sister Nana and the others didn't let me. Xiaolon said softly. There's a trace of indignation on her face, as if she was dissatisfied with Hu Lina, Zhu Zhuqing, and Ning Rongrong's obstruction. Lu Yuan, it had to be said that Xiaolan's words were shocking, and Lu Yuan was really shocked. But looking at Xiaolan's naive appearance, she probably didn't know what it meant to sleep together. Seeing Lu Yuan looking straight at her without saying a word, Xiaolon couldn't help but ask doubtfully, Big Brother, why aren't you saying anything? Big Brother has nothing to say. Lu Yuan sighed and looked away. Xiaolon didn't know anything, and if he continued talking, not only would it not solve his troubles, but it would also become more and more troublesome. He was really afraid that Xiaolon would come up with some shocking word again. Seeing Lu Yuan look away, Xiaolon pouted. Big Brother didn't keep his words and stopped halfway. Could it be that Big Brother was the same as Big Sister Nana and the others and didn't want Xiaolon to sleep with Big Brother? Xiaolan's big, bright eyes darted around, and she felt that it must be so. Senior Pasizi wanted to sleep with Big Brother, so Big Brother was very troubled. Now that Xiaolon said the same thing, Big Brother must also be very troubled, so he didn't want to talk to Xiaolon anymore. Xiaolan's little head was spinning rapidly, and there was a trace of grievance in her eyes. Xiaolon didn't do anything wrong, so why didn't Big Brother and Big Sister Nana want Xiaolon to sleep with Big Brother? Xiaolon is angry. Xiaolon is unhappy. Xiaolon widened her eyes and looked at Lu Yuan angrily. At this moment, Lu Yuan was looking straight ahead with a calm expression. His hair danced in the wind, and his aura was fully displayed. Big Brother is really handsome. Xiaolon stared blankly at Lu Yuan's side profile, and for a moment, she was somewhat absent-minded. The little grievance in her heart instantly disappeared. No wonder Big Sister Nana and the others are always staring at Big Brother. Xiaolon thought to herself, Sir, where are we going now? Please tell us. On the coast, 4 figures appeared. It was Lu Yuan, Xiaolon, and the deep-sea monster whale king's group. The remaining person was Xiao Lan's mother, the wife of the deep-sea monster whale king, 200,000-year-old deep-sea monster whale. Lu Yuan gave her a name, Lan Yen. Lu Yuan's group was going to the continent, and the deep-sea monster whale king was a family soul beast. Naturally, he was worried about Lan Yen, so he went to look for her. In the beginning, Lan Yen had fought with Lu Yuan because of the deep-sea demonic whale king's broken arm and the sacrificial offering. In the end, it was needless to say, Lu Yuan pinned her down with one finger. Later, after the deep-sea monster whale king and Xiao Lan's persuasion, she settled down and joined Lu Yuan's group. Where are we going? Naturally, we're going to the Great Stardow Forest first. That's the holy land of soul beasts, and we can make arrangements for Lan Yen and Xiao Lan. Otherwise, it's very dangerous for two soul beasts to run around the world. I'm sure you're very clear about that, Lu Yuan said plainly. Chapter 970. And, listening to Lu Yuan's words, the deep-sea devil whale king nodded. He was naturally very clear about this point. The continent was not like the ocean. This was a human settlement, and a large number of soul masters would often appear. Lan Yen and Xiao Lan might be fine in some low-level cities, but in some high-level cities, it was very likely that they would encounter a high-level soul master and be exposed, which was a very dangerous thing. Therefore, it was definitely not advisable to bring the two of them around the world. Sir is still very thoughtful, the deep-sea devil whale king said with a little respect. The deep-sea devil whale king was a very sensible soul beast. After being subdued by Lu Yuan, he was a lot more honest. In addition, Lu Yuan's strength was getting stronger and stronger, so the deep-sea devil whale king was becoming more and more respectful to Lu Yuan. It's just that you haven't been to the human world. It's your first time here, so it's inevitable that you'll overlook this. This is actually nothing. Lu Yuan waved his hand and said indifferently, hiding one's identity. Even if the deep-sea devil whale king and the others didn't think of it now, they would eventually think of it after wandering around the human world. It was really nothing. Okay, let's not delay anymore. Come with me, it's already late. Let's rest here for the night and go to the Great Stardow Forest tomorrow. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Yes, sir. The deep-sea devil whale king softly replied. Oceanic City, in a high-class hotel. Lu Yuan was lying on the bed, holding a book in his hand, his eyes flashing slightly. Sigh. Thinking of Pasizi's figure, Lu Yuan sighed softly. Different from Duge Yin and Yi Lingling, Pasizi's love really made him very vexed, because his relationship with Pasizi was really good. The two of them talked about a lot of things and resonated in all aspects. Moreover, the two of them were in similar situations. They were the top experts in the world, had a high position, few friends, and were lonely in their hearts. Lu Yuan originally thought that he had found a true friend, but he didn't expect Pasizi to be moved by him. I treated you as a friend, but you wanted to sleep with me. Lu Yuan's expression was slightly strange. He sighed softly. Is there really no pure friendship between men and women? But it's also my fault. Why would I anger you when I have nothing better to do? Perhaps in your eyes, this isn't anger, but provocation. If I didn't anger you, you wouldn't have been tempted so easily. But then again, if you don't like me, I really can't kill Tang Chun. Sigh, what a contradiction. Lu Yuan sighed again and gently rubbed his furrowed brows. He was really confused about how to deal with this matter. Forget it. Let's not care about this anymore. When the time comes, there will be a way. When the boat reaches the bridge, it will naturally straighten itself out. Let's just go with the flow. Let's take a look at this self-created soul skill first. After breaking through to Spear Soul, I have some new ideas. Once he broke through to Spear Soul, his horizons were broadened by a lot. He was prepared to modify and strengthen his original self-created soul skill. Then he could ponder about creating a new one. Self-created soul skills still had to keep up with the times. After all, he was getting stronger every moment. His previous self-created soul skills were naturally no longer useful. He had to use a new and strengthened version. Lu Yuan thought to himself as he gently flipped through the book in his hand. He frowned slightly, and his eyes flickered slightly, as if he was thinking about something. Suddenly, Lu Yuan's door was gently pushed open, and a graceful figure went in. Xiaolon tiptoed into the room and looked at Lu Yuan, who was thinking. She giggled and ran towards Lu Yuan. "Who asked you to come?" Lu Yuan didn't even raise his head. His indifferent voice sounded, causing Xiaolan's figure to stop abruptly. "Brother, did you hear that?" Xiaolan smiled and said awkwardly. She saw that Lu Yuan was reading so seriously and thought that Lu Yuan didn't hear her. "Brother isn't deaf. How can I not hear you? It's not that brother wants to scold you, but it's late at night. Don't run into brother's room." Lu Yuan closed the book and looked at Xiaolan helplessly. "Why?" Xiaolan pouted with a puzzled look. She walked forward and sat down on the bed. "This is not good," Lu Yuan said seriously. "Why is it not good?" Xiaolan asked. It's not good. There's no reason," Lu Yuan said indifferently. "Oomph." Xiaolan snorted. She was obviously unhappy. Seeing Xiaolan snorting and pouting, Lu Yuan shook his head helplessly. He moved slightly and sat beside Xiaolan. He stretched out his right hand and gently stroked Xiaolan's long blue hair. "Who asked you to come?" Lu Yuan asked again. "Oomph." Xiaolan snorted again and didn't answer. "Oh, still throwing a tantrum with brother?" Lu Yuan raised his eyebrows and scratched Xiaolan's itchy flesh with his right hand. Xiaolan suddenly laughed and struggled. Xiaolan grabbed Lu Yuan's right hand with both of his hands and stared at Lu Yuan angrily with his big eyes. Seeing Xiaolan's cute appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile faintly. He stretched out his hand and pinched Xiaolan's white and tender cheeks. "Did your father ask you to come?" Lu Yuan blinked, and a trace of anger flashed in his eyes. "No, Xiaolan wanted to come. Father just agreed to Xiaolan's request," Xiaolan said crisply. "Oh, is that so?" Lu Yuan narrowed his eyes. He didn't stop Xiaolan, which meant that the deep-sea magic whale king had this thought. "It seems that you're not very honest. Are you just worried about Xiaolan, or do you want to use Xiaolan to scheme something?" Lu Yuan secretly guessed. No matter how respectful Lu Yuan was towards the deep-sea magic whale king, he couldn't trust it wholeheartedly. Its cunning side was already deeply ingrained in Lu Yuan's heart. But now wasn't the right time. Lu Yuan only thought about it for a moment, and then suppressed his thoughts. However, his impression of the deep-sea magic whale king had decreased a bit. Lu Yuan looked at Xiaolan and said, "Why didn't you stay in your room in the middle of the night? Why did you come to Big Brother's room?" Lu Yuan asked softly. Although he had some guesses about Xiaolan's intentions, he still had to ask. "Xiaolan wants to sleep with Big Brother," Xiaolan said with an innocent face. Lu Yuan, he guessed right. "Little girl, sleep. Do you know what it means to sleep together?" "Xiaolan, Big Brother knows that you like Big Brother, and Big Brother also likes you, but we can't sleep together," Lu Yuan said with a serious face. "Why?" Xiaolan asked puzzledly. This was the second time Big Brother said this. Does Big Brother dislike Xiaolan? Does Big Brother not like Xiaolan? Xiaolan raised her head. Her big eyes flickered with tears, and her face was full of grievance. Chapter 971. Of course not. Why would I dislike Xiaolan? Xiaolan is so pretty and cute. How can I not like Xiaolan? In my heart, Xiaolan is very important. Lu Yuan caressed Xiaolan's face and said gently, "Then why can't I sleep with Xiaolan? You can sleep with Sister Nana and the rest." Xiaolan looked at Lu Yuan with her big eyes, as though she wanted an explanation. "Xiaolan, you are different from Sister Nana and the rest. They are my wives, and you are my sister. We are siblings. You can be close to me, but you can't sleep with me." Lu Yuan said gently, "Why can't siblings sleep together?" Then Xiaolan doesn't want to be a sister. Xiaolan wants to be a wife. Xiaolan shook her head and said, "Slap." Lu Yuan flicked his finger at Xiaolan's forehead, and the little girl immediately touched her forehead, tears welling up in her big eyes. "Ouch, it hurts. Why did you hit Xiaolan?" Xiaolan looked at Lu Yuan with grievance. She didn't know what she did wrong for Lu Yuan to hit her. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Lu Yuan frowned and looked at Xiaolan sternly. What did Xiaolan say wrong again? Xiaolan was confused. She didn't know what she did wrong. She didn't know much about the world. Since she was born, she was well protected by her parents. How could she know such things? Xiaolon only wanted to be close to brother. Not only did brother hit Xiaolon, you were also fierce to Xiaolon. Xiaolon is angry. Xiaolon doesn't like brother anymore. Xiaolon turned her head away. The more she thought about it, the more wrong she felt. Crystal clear tears flowed down her snow-white cheeks, leaving 2 trails of tears. Seeing this scene, Lu Yuan's heart softened. This girl didn't know anything, so she spoke without restraint. He was a little emotional. When he heard that she wanted to be his wife, he couldn't control his anger. Now that he thought about it, he regretted it a little. All right, Xiaolon. It's brother's fault. Brother apologizes to you. Don't be angry, okay? Reaching out to hug Xiaolon, Lu Yuan gently patted her back to comfort her. After all, he was a senior sister Khan, so he couldn't bear to be cruel to his own sister. If it wasn't for Xiaolan's shocking words tonight, he would never have looked at her with such a serious expression. Now that he saw her crying, he couldn't help but soften, and all his anger disappeared. Xiaolon is going to be angry. Big brother is actually fierce to Xiaolon. Xiaolon puffed up her cheeks and said angrily. Lu Yuan used to dote on her and had never been fierce to her. Looking at Xiaolan's tear-stained face, Lu Yuan couldn't help but find it funny. He reached out and gently wiped away the tears on Xiaolan's face. Xiaolon quietly watched Lu Yuan's actions. She could feel the doting look in Lu Yuan's eyes. Her puffed-up cheeks slowly relaxed, and the resentment in her heart disappeared completely. This little girl was very easy to coax. Brother. Xiaolon took a step forward and lay in Lu Yuan's arms. She opened her big eyes and looked at Lu Yuan pitifully. Xiaolon, be good. You really can't stay. Brother will accompany you for a while. After that, you can go back to sleep, okay? Lu Yuan said gently. All right, Xiaolon pouted. Seeing that Lu Yuan was still so determined, she felt a little wronged. However, she didn't insist anymore. Although she was innocent, she wasn't stupid. She could feel that Lu Yuan was very resistant to this matter, and even felt disgusted. Although she still didn't understand why, she didn't insist on staying like she did at the start. She lay in Lu Yuan's arms and closed her eyes. She enjoyed the warmth of Lu Yuan's embrace. Lu Yuan gently played with Xiaolan's blue hair. His eyes were filled with gentleness. Xiaolan's innocence and cuteness made one want to protect her, just like Wang Qiu-er. I don't know how Qiu-er is doing. Lu Yuan's gaze turned gentle when he thought about Wang Qiu-er. She was his first sister and also his most beloved sister. The two of them were even related by blood. Although they weren't of the same bloodline, they were still connected. To be honest, Wang Qiu-er's position in his heart wasn't lower than Hulina and the rest. She was obedient, innocent, and cute. However, she was decisive and didn't show any mercy to her enemies. She wasn't like Xiaolon, who was pure and kind. However, it made sense. Wang Qiu was the little tyrant of the great Star Do Forest. Her personality was a little wild. However, Xiaolon had always been an obedient girl by her parents' side. She was a little different. Qiu, or we'll have another sister when we return to the great Star Do Forest. I wonder how happy she will be. Lu Yuan smiled. Qiu should be very happy to have a pure sister who is also a soul beast in human form. I have to ask her to teach Xiaolon properly when we go to the great Star Do Forest. Qiu knows that she can't sleep with me, but Xiaolon doesn't know anything. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Xiaolon was too pure. She was so pure that he felt a little helpless. Xiaolon was the first person he had seen who insisted on sleeping with him. Furthermore, it was just sleeping. It would be fine if the two of them were still young. However, Lu Yuan was almost 19 years old, and Xiaolon looked like she was 16. How could they sleep together? He had the bloodline of the five-clawed Golden Dragon King. He was very impulsive. If they slept together and something happened, he wouldn't be able to face anyone. This was his sister. He was a playboy, but he wasn't a beast. Furthermore, Xiaolon didn't know anything. If something happened, Hulina and the rest would despise him for the rest of his life. Although he didn't care about how others looked at him, he couldn't accept being looked down on by his own woman. As he thought about it, time passed second by second, After about half an hour, Lu Yuan finally regained his senses. He glanced at Xiaolan. This little girl had actually fallen asleep in his arms. Her breathing was shallow, and her little face was red. She was indescribably cute. Silly girl. There was a trace of gentleness in Lu Yuan's eyes as he gently carried Xiaolan and sent her back to her room. The night passed peacefully. The next day, after waking up and eating breakfast, Lu Yuan brought the deep-sea devil whale king and the rest to the Great Stardow Forest. There was still some distance between Oceanic City and the Great Stardow Forest. However, Lu Yuan and the rest were very fast. They reached the Great Stardow Forest in just 2 days. This was because he had to take care of Xiaolan. Otherwise, they could have been even faster. After all, he and the deep-sea devil whale king were at the top of the continent. Even Lan Yin was a 200,000-year savage beast. Her strength was still extraordinary. It was just that Xiaolan was a little weaker. Chapter 972. After so many years, I'm finally here again. A tinge of emotion flashed across Lu Yuan's eyes as he looked at the lush and boundless forest. It had been a long time since he last came to this place. Is this the Great Stardow Forest? The deep-sea demon whale king looked at the forest in front of him and asked curiously. Yes, Lu Yuan's cold voice sounded. Ever since Xiaolan came to his room that night, his impression of the deep-sea demon whale king had worsened, and he didn't have a good attitude towards him over the past 2 days. If not for Xiaolan, Lu Yuan would have slapped him to death. He didn't know how to write the word death if he dared to have any thoughts about him. Even Ning Fengji, who was once his partner and father-in-law, was so angry that he vomited blood, let alone the deep-sea demon whale king. If not for the fact that he was about to be sacrificed and didn't have much time left, Lu Yuan was sure that he would have a good time. However, even though he didn't do anything to him, it was impossible for Lu Yuan to be amiable. Follow me, Lu Yuan said softly as he held Xiaolan's hand and walked in front. The deep-sea demon whale king and Lan Yin looked at each other and followed behind Lu Yuan. The moment Lu Yuan stepped into the Great Stardow Forest, the silver dragon reverse scale on his body suddenly heated up, and Lu Yuan narrowed his eyes. Outside the Lake of Life, Gu Yuna was originally sitting cross-legged. Suddenly, she felt a scalding heat in her arms. She reached in her clothes and took out a bright golden reverse scale. The golden reverse scale emitted a high temperature, and in addition to the increasingly strong feeling in her heart, Gu Yuna's purple eyes flashed, and the corner of her mouth curled into a gentle smile. "You're here," Gu Yuna whispered softly. Her smile was like a flower, and her body and mind were immediately filled with joy. "Di Tian," Gu Yuna said softly. "Master, what are your orders?" A black light flashed, and Di Tian's figure appeared on the spot. He knelt on one knee and lowered his head. "He's here. Go and welcome him." Gu Yuna's indifferent voice sounded. "Is his honor here?" Di Tian asked softly. "Yes, go and bring him here," Gu Yuna said. "Yes, my lord," Di Tian replied before he disappeared once again. Gu Yuna's purple eyes scanned the room. "Is Chiao not here?" "Yes, she should be with that little rabbit," Gu Yuna murmured softly. Then she stood up and walked forward. Since Lu Yuan was here, how could she continue to cultivate? Seeing her lover was the most important thing. Lu Yuan and the others quickly moved forward. To them, even the Great Stardow Forest was like flat ground. Regardless of whether it was a 1,000-year-soul beast or a 10,000-year-soul beast, they all fled after sensing their auras. Therefore, Lu Yuan and the others advanced very smoothly. The outer region of the Great Stardow Forest was very large. However, Lu Yuan carried little on and quickly traversed the forest in less than 2 hours. When he first came here, it took him a few days to traverse the outer region. It was incomparable to now. Lu Yuan's figure turned into a beam of golden light. Dragon roars sounded as he quickly entered the hybrid region. Little Lan lay quietly in Lu Yuan's arms. She blinked her large eyes. She was very cute. The deep-sea devil whale king followed behind Lu Yuan with Lan Yin. Suddenly, Lu Yuan stopped. He looked at the ripples in the space in front of him and blinked. My lord! The deep-sea devil whale king rushed over. When he saw that Lu Yuan had stopped, he was a little confused. Lu Yuan ignored him and stared straight ahead without moving. Suddenly, the space in front of them split open. Di Tian's figure walked out. Greetings, my lord. My lord has ordered me to welcome you here. Di Tian bowed and said, Di Tian, it's really you. Lu Yuan's eyes sparkled as he looked at Di Tian in front of him. Deep-sea devil whale king. Lu Yuan said softly. My lord. The deep-sea devil whale king replied. Go and beat up that stupid dragon in front of me. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Yes, my lord. Seeing that Di Tian was only an ultimate Douluo, the deep-sea devil whale king immediately agreed. He didn't dare to fight Lu Yuan and the Pasizi, who could borrow divine power. However, he wasn't afraid of dealing with existences weaker than him. He was best at bullying the weak. However, he was wrong this time. Di Tian was only an ultimate Douluo, but after using the dragon god's claw, he wasn't weaker than a demigod. The deep-sea devil whale king with a broken arm was really difficult to deal with. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Di Tian was a little confused. He immediately asked, My lord, what do you mean by this? Nothing. I'm just testing your strength. The soul beast in front of you is a deep-sea devil whale king. It's only a step away from becoming a million-year soul beast. It's very strong. You're also known as the beast god. I want to see if you're stronger than him. Lu Yuan said indifferently. There's no need for that, my lord. Seeing the deep-sea devil whale king's appearance and feeling its aura, Di Tian knew that it wasn't easy to provoke. He didn't have the confidence to win, so he didn't want to make a move. I think it's very necessary. Deep-sea devil whale king, the one in front of you is the strongest soul beast on the continent. He's the 850,000-year-old golden eyes black dragon king, the beast god Di Tian. You're the strongest in the sea, and he's the strongest on the continent. So let's compete. However, you can only win. If you lose, come and find me for a lesson. Lu Yuan said lightly. Hearing this, the deep-sea devil whale king's body trembled. Looking for Lu Yuan for a lesson was purely tyrannical. No one knew better than him how strong Lu Yuan was. However, he was still confident. With Di Tian's cultivation, he believed that it wouldn't be a problem for him to defeat Di Tian. My lord, don't worry, I will definitely win. The deep-sea devil whale king said with a face full of confidence. When the deep-sea devil whale king said those words, Di Tian became unhappy. He didn't want to make a move because he didn't have the confidence to win. However, it wasn't because he was afraid. The beast god's name wasn't just for show. The deep-sea devil whale king actually said that he could defeat Di Tian. How could Di Tian tolerate that? Di Tian, had roamed the continent and had never lost before. Below the deity level, who was he afraid of? Your Honor, if I accidentally injure him, you won't be angry, right? Di Tian asked. Of course not. However, you better use your full strength. If you lose, come and find me for a lesson. I'm very interested in guiding you. Lu Yuan smiled, and his smile was especially brilliant. However, Di Tian's body trembled, and a bad premonition emerged in his heart. Di Tian's eyes narrowed as he looked at Lu Yuan. Immediately, his heart trembled, because Lu Yuan's body seemed to be shrouded in a layer of fog, and no matter how hard he looked, he couldn't see through it. And this kind of feeling he had only felt from Gu Yuna before. Could it be that his honor's strength has also reached that level? As Di Tian guessed inwardly, his heart was filled with shock. Chapter 973. Seeing Di Tian looking at him, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. With his current strength, it would be strange if Di Tian could see through him. One must know that the existence of a divine body had already transcended the mortal realm. Right now, Lu Yuan could even live without eating or drinking. He had already ascended to a new level of life. It was basically impossible for Di Tian to see through him. If it was Gu Yuna, it might be possible. Let's do it. Lu Yuan waved his hand, and the deep-sea magic whale king behind him immediately rushed out. Its powerful demigod aura was revealed. Seeing this, Tian quickly retracted his gaze that was sizing up Lu Yuan and received the deep-sea magic whale king's attack. The two of them quickly rose up and started fighting. Suddenly, a thunderous explosion sounded in the air. It was the sound of energy explosion. Looking at the two of them fighting, Lu Yuan's lips curled into a smile. Tian had caught him twice like catching a chicken. The deep-sea magic whale king dared to use Xiaolan to test him. These two fellows were really asking for a beating. It was a good opportunity for these two fellows to fight. Their strength was originally about the same, but the deep-sea magic whale king had lost an arm, and it wasn't in its home ground. It would definitely be beaten up if it fought with Tian in his normal state. However, once Tian used a dragon god's claw, the chances of the deep-sea magic whale king losing would be very high. Once the deep-sea magic whale king was defeated, he could use this opportunity to give the deep-sea magic whale king a good lesson. As for Tian, although he could win, he would definitely be beaten up badly. It was impossible for him to win too easily. It just so happened that he could use the excuse of raising Tian's strength to openly beat him up and teach him a lesson. He was a very vengeful person. Tian had captured him twice, and he had once said that he would beat Tian up, so he would definitely beat him up. Other than the fact that he might not be reliable when it came to matters related to women, he would definitely keep his word on everything else. Therefore, when he saw Tian, he made this decision in just a moment. It would allow him to beat the two of them up at the same time to vent the resentment in his heart. It had to be said that this was killing two birds with one stone. However, for someone like him who often used his brain, such an idea wasn't too difficult. Strength was important, but sometimes brains were also quite important. At the very least, Tian and the deep-sea demonic whale king had yet to react. But even if they reacted, there was nothing they could do. They would still be beaten up. This was an open conspiracy. Lu Yuan thought to himself. He turned to Lan Yin and said, "Let's go." Lu Yuan's faint voice sounded. "My lord, will my husband be all right?" Although she was very confident in the deep-sea devil whale king, Lan Yin was still a little worried when she heard Lu Yuan say that Tian was the strongest soul beast on the continent. "Don't worry, it'll be fine," Lu Yuan replied softly. Even if the deep-sea magic whale king was defeated, it would at most suffer some injuries, and its life would not be in danger. Even if Tian had the dragon god's claw, it was absolutely impossible for him to kill the deep-sea magic whale king. "That's great." Lan Yin heaved a sigh of relief. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, she thought that the deep-sea demonic whale king would win. She immediately relaxed. The deep-sea demonic whale king and Tian were fighting crazily in the sky. Lu Yuan couldn't be bothered to pay attention to their fight. To him, the two of them were weaklings, and there was nothing to watch. He carried Xiaolan with one hand, and Lan Yin followed beside him. The three of them quickly rushed towards the core area. Golden light flickered, and Lu Yuan's figure sprinted through the forest. He was extremely fast, and was several times faster than the speed of sound. Lan Yin had to use all her strength to barely keep up with him. So slow. Lu Yuan paused for a moment and grabbed Lan Yin's shoulder with one hand. Soul power surged out and protected Lan Yin as well. "Thank you, my lord." Lan Yin thanked him. She wasn't weak and had no problem fighting a rank 97 transcendent Douluo. However, that depended on who she was competing with. If she was compared to Lu Yuan, she was far too weak. "No need. I just think that you're too slow," Lu Yuan said indifferently. His figure flashed, and his speed suddenly increased by a lot. After about an hour, Lu Yuan stopped. A huge lake appeared in front of him. A dense aura of life emanated from the lake, and the refreshing aura made one feel relaxed and happy. The lake of life. Lu Yuan stopped and put down Xiaolan, who was in his arms, as well as his hand on Lan Yin's shoulder. Lan Yin panted slightly. Xiaolan was lying in Lu Yuan's arms, and all resistance was isolated by Lu Yuan. Xiaolan didn't feel anything at all. However, Lan Yin was different. She only had her soul power as a barrier. Lu Yuan was simply too fast, and she really suffered a lot. If not for the fact that she was quite strong and had a strong resistance, she would have vomited a long time ago. AI, no matter how fast I am, it's still not as convenient as tearing space apart. It seems like I have to ask Nair about the mysteries of spatial power this time. Even DTon can tear space apart. I'm so much stronger than him. If I can't do it, it'll be a little embarrassing. Lu Yuan thought to himself as his eyes flickered. Big brother, is this the lake of life? The scenery is so beautiful, and the air smells so good. Xiaolon tugged on Lu Yuan's sleeve, and her clear and ethereal voice sounded. Yes, this is the lake of life. However, this is only the periphery. The core is still inside. Let's go. Let's continue forward. Lu Yuan smiled. Xiaolon nodded vigorously. She held onto Lu Yuan's hand with her small hand, and a sweet smile appeared on her face. Lu Yuan smiled. Suddenly, his expression froze, and a smile appeared on his face. He was just about to take a step forward when he stopped. Big stupid bear, what are you hiding there for? Hurry up and come out. Lu Yuan's gaze turned to a certain direction, and he shouted softly. As his voice fell, there was still no movement from the bear. You don't want to come out, right? Lu Yuan sneered, and a slap was thrown in that direction. A palm print that was several hundred feet in size appeared in midair, and it directly slammed into a dense forest. Trees immediately collapsed to the ground, and dirt flew everywhere. The miserable cry of a big stupid bear rang out. Lu Yuan extended his hand, and a gust of wind surged. Accompanied by a series of anguished howls, the bear lord's body, which was several dozen meters tall, was directly sucked out by Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan's slap instantly shook the earth, and a huge crater appeared in the ground. The bear lord's body was imprinted in the crater. The huge bear's head sunk into the crater, and it ate a mouthful of mud. Are you still going to hide? I told you to come out, but you didn't? What? Are you addicted to playing tricks on others? You want to play tricks on me too? Lu Yuan stomped his foot, and a huge force burst forth, directly shaking the bear lord out of the crater. Chapter 974. Immediately after, Lu Yuan took 2 steps forward and directly grabbed on a bear lord's ear. With a slight tug, bear lord immediately started howling in pain. Your Honor, let go, let go. SSSS, it hurts so much. Bear lord sucked in a mouthful of cold air and hurriedly begged for mercy. You also know pain? Just now, when I asked you to come out, you didn't come out. What? You wanted to sneakily slap me with your claws, Lu Yuan's voice rose by a few octaves, and he immediately used a bit more strength, causing Bear Lord to grimace in pain. I wouldn't dare. Subordinate wouldn't dare. Subordinate wouldn't dare to be disrespectful to your honor. Subordinate only wanted to joke around with your honor. Bear Lord waved his bear claws and said with a fawning expression. He finally knew how powerful Lu Yuan was. With just 2 slaps, he didn't have any temper at all. Lu Yuan was even more powerful than DTon. Bear Lord felt that he was just like a little chick in Tang Wulin's hands, and Tang Wulin could play with him however Tang Wulin wanted. Thus, Bear Lord didn't dare to be angry anymore. Originally, Bear Lord was a little displeased when Gu Yuna told them to address Lu Yuan as your honor. After all, no matter what, Bear Lord was still a half-step limit existence. But now, I can't afford to offend you. Your honor is awesome. As for calling Lu Yuan as your honor, I, Bear Lord, wholeheartedly agree. From now on, I, Bear Lord, will be your honor's most loyal supporter. Bear Lord shouted crazily in his heart. You said that you only wanted to joke around with me? After hearing Bear Lord's words, Lu Yuan asked with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. That's right. Bear Lord nodded repeatedly. All right then, I also want to joke around with you. Lu Yuan said with a gentle smile on his face. Seeing this smile, Bear Lord's heart suddenly tensed up, and he had a bad premonition. Sure enough, just as the premonition arose in his heart, Lu Yuan grabbed onto his ear and pulled fiercely. Bear Lord immediately felt so much pain that his facial muscles contracted. After that, Lu Yuan's body moved, and he arrived behind Bear Lord. Grabbing on a bear lord's short and small tail, Lu Yuan swung bear lord's huge body around and smashed it onto the ground. Suddenly, the ground shook and dust billowed. After a round of beating, Lu Yuan threw the badly battered bear lord aside and looked at him with a smile. Are you happy with this joke? Bear lord's face was swollen, and his lips were twitching as he looked at Lu Yuan. He wanted to cry, but no tears would come out. In all honesty, he had never been beaten so miserably before. Furthermore, this guy was asking him if he was satisfied after beating him up, but when it thought of Lu Yuan's strength, it immediately gave in. Looking at Lu Yuan's threatening gaze, it held back its tears of grievance and nodded, saying, satisfied. Are you really satisfied? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. I'm really satisfied. Bear Lord nodded. You're so satisfied? Then let's do it again. Lu Yuan smiled and stretched out his right hand again. Your Honor, wait. Bear Lord was given a fright when he saw that Lu Yuan was about to continue. He had already been beaten quite badly, and if he were to be beaten again, he would most likely lose half of his life. Didn't you say you were satisfied? What? Are you lying to me? Lu Yuan stared at Bear Lord and said indifferently. Bear Lord's body trembled as he felt Lu Yuan's cold gaze, and a chill ran down his spine. He smiled obsequiously and said, Your Honor, it's getting late, and Master is still waiting for you. How about we come again next time? You can go and see Master first. Hearing Bear Lord's words, Lu Yuan raised his eyebrows slightly. Who said that this stupid bear was stupid when he used Gu Yuna to pressure him? This guy was obviously very smart. However, when he thought of Gu Yuna, Lu Yuan felt a little anxious. He hadn't seen her for a long time, and he really missed her. His desire to teach Bear Lord a lesson immediately diminished. Forget it. Since this guy is so sensible, I'll let him off. Moreover, this guy had killed quite a number of people from the Clear Sky sect, and he was considered a meritorious deed. Beating him up was indeed enough. Lu Yuan nodded gently as he looked at the smiling Bear Lord. You're right. I'll remember today's lesson. I'll come and play with you another day. We can play some more jokes then. Bear Lord smiled and said, You're right. I'll remember today's lesson. As he spoke, Lu Yuan flashed a radiant smile. Bear Lord's heart trembled when he saw that smile. It seemed like he couldn't escape the fate of being beaten up after all. However, if he was beaten up, then so be it. He just had to deal with the current situation first. As for whether he would be beaten up in the future, that was a matter for the future. He couldn't care less about it now. Xiaolan, let's go. Lu Yuan said to Xiaolan with a smile after taking another look at Bear Lord. Xiaolan nodded and followed Lu Yuan towards the core region. Bear Lord heaved a sigh of relief as he watched Lu Yuan's figure disappear. This jinx is finally gone. I wonder how this jinx cultivates. He's so young, and yet he's so strong. It's really unimaginable. Bear Lord muttered in his heart. Lu Yuan and the other two advanced for a while longer. The life energy from the Lake of Life became thicker and thicker. They had already entered the core region. Suddenly, Lu Yuan stopped in his tracks. He looked at the few familiar faces in front of him. Brother, a pleasant voice rang out. Wang Qiu, or it was like a swallow returning to its nest. She rushed into Lu Yuan's embrace with her fragrance. Lu Yuan stretched out his hands and hugged Wang Qiu gently. Brother, Wang Qiu hugged Lu Yuan's neck and hung onto Lu Yuan's body. Qiu. Lu Yuan smiled gently as he looked at Wang Qiu's beautiful face. They hadn't seen each other for 2 years, and Wang Qiu had become a lot prettier. She had also developed very well. She was no different from those young ladies. Brother, I miss you so much. Wang Qiu pecked Lu Yuan's face. Her pinkish blue eyes were filled with longing. I miss you too, Qiu. Lu Yuan said gently as he hugged Wang Qiu's waist with his left hand and pinched her cheek with his right hand. Wang Qiu's cheeks were pink and tender. They were rosy and felt good to the touch. Really? Did you really miss me? Wang Qiu didn't care that Lu Yuan was pinching her cheek. She blinked her eyes and looked at Lu Yuan as she asked. Of course, Lu Yuan said with a serious look on his face. He wasn't lying. He really did miss Wang Qiu. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Wang Qiu's face blossomed into a beautiful smile. Her pinkish-blue eyes curved into crescents. She hugged Lu Yuan tightly and rested her face on Lu Yuan's shoulder. Her eyes were squinted, and she enjoyed the warmth of Lu Yuan's embrace. Lu Yuan hugged Wang Qiu's waist and gently caressed her bright golden hair. His eyes were filled with gentleness. He was in a good mood when he saw his sister again. There was a joy that came from the bottom of his heart. Chapter 975. The two of them hugged for a while before Lu Yuan patted Wang Qiu's butt and gestured for her to get down. Wang Qiu pouted. Although she wasn't too happy, she still got down from Lu Yuan's body obediently. She hugged Lu Yuan's arm tightly and refused to let go. Elder brother, who is she? Wang Qiu hugged Lu Yuan's arm and looked at Xiaolan, who was standing on the other side of Lu Yuan. Her pinkish-blue eyes blinked, and it was a doubtful look on her face. She's called Xiaolan. She's elder brother's new younger sister. Lu Yuan smiled. After hearing this, Wang Qiu's expression changed. She looked very wronged, and she looked at Lu Yuan pitifully. Don't you want Qiu anymore? Why would I? Of course I want Qiu. Qiu is elder brother's favorite younger sister. Lu Yuan smiled gently as he caressed Wang Qiu's hair. Then why are you looking for a younger sister? Is Qiu not good enough? Wang Qiu said softly. Her pinkish-blue eyes sparkled with tears. Ugh! Lu Yuan was stunned when he saw Wang Qiu's expression. After that, he revealed a bitter smile. Wang Qiu was jealous. He had never thought of this. Wang Qiu didn't react to his many girlfriends. He didn't expect Wang Qiu to be so agitated when he had a younger sister. She was always so obedient and generous, but she was jealous. However, it made sense. No matter how many girlfriends he had, he would still only have Wang Qiu as his younger sister. Now that he had Xiaolan, Wang Qiu was probably worried that Xiaolan would steal his attention. Lu Yuan thought to himself, why aren't you answering me? Is Qiu not good enough? Wang Qiu asked again when she saw Lu Yuan in a daze. Of course Qiu is good enough. Qiu is beautiful and generous. I like you a lot, Lu Yuan said gently. Then why are you looking for a younger sister? I only need one younger sister. I don't need other younger sisters. Wang Qiu pouted and said seriously. Qiu. Lu Yuan raised his voice and looked at Wang Qiu seriously. Xiaolan was right beside him. So how could she say something like that? It was very hurtful. Brother is fierce to Qiu. Brother has never been fierce to Qiu before. Today, you're actually fierce to Qiu because of her. Wang Qiu's face was full of grievances, and her eyes were filled with tears. She stared at Lu Yuan and complained silently. This. The corner of Lu Yuan's mouth twitched when he saw Wang Qiu on the verge of tears. He felt a little helpless. Wang Qiu had always stuck to him, but he didn't expect her to be so possessive. Initially, he had brought Xiaolan over to make Wang Qiu happy. However, it seemed like his plan had backfired. She was actually jealous. This was beyond his expectations. She glanced at Xiaolan beside her. Indeed, she was pouting. Even though she had a good temper and was kind, it didn't mean that she wasn't angry. Wang Qiu's words must have provoked her. Sai, what's going on? Lu Yuan sighed softly. He was a little vexed. Both of them were his beloved younger sisters. Comforting one would hurt the other. It was so difficult. He had never encountered such a jealous situation, even though he had found so many wives. Damn it, he was caught off guard when he found two younger sisters. It's rare to see you sigh. Why? Is there something you can't handle? A gentle voice rang out beside Lu Yuan's ear. Lu Yuan lifted his head and saw Gu Yuna's graceful figure. Nar. Lu Yuan's eyes brightened when he saw Gu Yuna. He couldn't help but smile warmly. You're finally here. I thought you'd forgotten about me. Gu Yuna rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan. There was a tinge of resentment in her eyes. How could I forget about you? I've been thinking about you every day. Lu Yuan spoke the standard words of a scumbag. It was true that he often thought about Gu Yuna, but it was a lie to say that he thought about her every day. At the very least, he didn't think about Gu Yuna when he was happy with Ulina and the others. He had 6 wives. It was unrealistic to think about all 6 of them every day. Lu Yuan couldn't do that. Forget it. As if I'd believe you. It's already good enough that a playboy like you would think of me occasionally. Gu Yuna glanced at Lu Yuan and said in annoyance. She wasn't clear about Lu Yuan's character. His love for her was absolutely true. However, the problem was that this man loved everyone too much. His love for every woman was true. There were 6 women, and 3 of them were by his side. How could they, who were far away, be compared to the ones by his side? She was sure that this guy, apart from cultivating, spent most of his time flirting with Ulina and the others. If not, then the result would be even worse. This guy was probably flirting with other women. She didn't understand these things in the past, but now she understood them very well. Nah, look at what you're saying. You're as gentle as water, natural and unrestrained. Most importantly, you're so beautiful. How could I only think of you occasionally? I could say that your figure often appeared in my mind. Lu Yuan said seriously. Oh, so it's like that. According to you, you think about me because I'm beautiful. If I'm not beautiful, you won't think about me? Gu Yuna blinked her purple eyes. There was a hint of playfulness in her tone. You think too much. If you weren't beautiful, I wouldn't fall in love with you at all. Lu Yuan murmured softly. However, although his voice was soft, Gu Yuna heard it clearly. Her pretty face immediately darkened. This guy really didn't change at all. He was a typical appearance association. This guy seemed to have agreed to be with her from the beginning because of her beautiful appearance. A pervert was a pervert. No matter how good he treated her later and how much he loved her, he was still attracted to her appearance at the beginning. Gu Yuna snorted. She walked in front of Lu Yuan and stared at him with a pair of purple eyes. You're still so beautiful. Looking at Gu Yuna, who was close to him, Lu Yuan raised his right hand and gently stroked Gu Yuna's cheek. Pa! Gu Yuna slapped Lu Yuan's hand away. She looked straight at Lu Yuan. You're beautiful all day long. If I'm disfigured and not beautiful, you won't love me anymore? You have the secret character. You can recover from any injury. You won't be disfigured. Lu Yuan shook his head and said, I'm saying if I'm not beautiful anymore, will you still love me? Will you still love me? Gu Yuna asked with a serious expression. Of course. At first, I only loved your appearance. I've always admitted this. But now, I love you as a person. I love your character. I love your gentleness. I love everything about you. So even if you're disfigured and not beautiful, I'll still love you. Lu Yuan's eyes flashed with a trace of tenderness. His tone was sincere. Chapter 976. Really? Gu Yuna's eyes rippled slightly as she asked in a soft voice. Truer than a pearl. I can swear on my own bloodline, Lu Yuan said in a firm voice. No need. I trust you. Gu Yuna smiled softly and took a step forward, burrowing into Lu Yuan's arms. Looking at Gu Yuna's gorgeous features in his arms, Lu Yuan lowered his head slightly and kissed Gu Yuna's tender lips. After a passionate kiss, Lu Yuan finally released Gu Yuna, who was blushing slightly. He leaned forward slightly, pressing his forehead against Gu Yuna's, and the two of them could hear each other's breathing. Gu Yuna's noble and mysterious purple eyes were shimmering, and Lu Yuan could even see his own reflection in her eyes. Lu Yuan reached out and caressed Gu Yuna's fair and tender face. His eyes were full of tenderness as he spoke in a soft voice. Looks are very important because that's the first impression you have of others. But true love isn't just about looks. If you want to be together for a long time, what's more important is what's inside. I admit that I coveted your beauty in the beginning, and of course I covet your body now, but I love your personality more, and I love your love for me. I'm a very vulgar person, but I'm not just a vulgar person. Do you understand? Lu Yuan asked in a soft voice. Understand. Gu Yuna's voice was soft and gentle, and a radiant smile bloomed on her beautiful face. Her purple eyes were like limpid autumn waters, and they were particularly captivating. Seeing this beautiful scene, Lu Yuan couldn't help but kiss Gu Yuna's red lips again. Their lips and tongues intertwined, and the two of them were completely immersed in the kiss, forgetting everything around them. Lu Yuan couldn't help but withdraw his left hand, which had been held by Gu Yuna, and wrap it around Gu Yuna's slender waist. His right hand was gently pressed against Gu Yuna's head, and he kissed her to his heart's content. Gu Yuna responded enthusiastically, and her jade-like arms were also tightly wrapped around Lu Yuan's waist. She closed her eyes slightly and enjoyed this moment to the fullest. The two of them were so unscrupulous that the surrounding people could not help but be stunned. Wang Xiao-er's teary eyes blinked, and her rosy lips parted slightly. There was a dazed look on her face. Shouldn't her brother be comforting her? What was he doing now? Did he forget about me the moment he saw big sister now? What a detestable, smelly brother. Wang Xiao-er wiped the tears from her eyes. Even Lu Yuan couldn't see it. So what was she crying for? Yes, she would cry later. Xiaolan also widened her clear blue eyes, her face full of curiosity. There were many people on the Sea God's Island, and they had to take the test. When Lu Yuan and Hu Lina were intimate, they had to go out and look for a house. When they were in front of others, they rarely kissed. At most, they kissed once before letting go. Therefore, this was Xiaolan's first time kissing so directly. What does kissing feel like? Big Brother seems to be enjoying it. Xiaolan wants to try it too. Xiaolan blinked its big eyes and thought to itself as it rolled its eyes. Not far away, the sky azure bull python and Xiao Wu also appeared. There were not many people in the core region, and Wang Xiao was a little girl who could not stand loneliness, so she was with them most of the time. The sky azure bull python lowered its head. Gu Yuna and Lu Yuan were far more important than it, so it did not dare to look at them kissing. However, Xiao Wu was completely entranced. Her large eyes were darting around, and no one knew what she was thinking. Big sister Xiao Wu, don't stare at them like that. Master and his lordship will get angry. The sky azure bull python reminded Xiao Wu. It's all right, Big Ming. They won't be so petty. Xiao Wu tapped her red lips with her small white hand, and there was a trace of curiosity in her eyes. I realized that Lu Yuan likes to kiss a lot. Back then, he kissed Zhu Zhuqing in Shrek Academy, and now he's kissing Lord. Lord, is kissing really that good? The sky azure bull python was struck by a sense of foreboding at the sight of the curiosity in Xiao Wu's eyes. Big sister Xiao Wu, you're not thinking about kissing, are you? I want to give it a try, but I don't have anyone to choose from, Xiao Wu sighed. The sky azure bull python opened its mouth, and a hint of dejection flashed through its eyes. It really wanted to say that it could, but Xiao Wu really did not seem to have any feelings for it. She only treated it as her little brother and family, but she did not like it. It had tried to test her, but all of its attempts had ended in failure. However, it still didn't give up. Even if Xiao Wu didn't like it, it was still willing to protect her. Xiao Wu had abused it countless times, but it treated her like its first love. Normal people wouldn't be able to understand the world of a bootlicker. As a loyal bootlicker who had been bootlicker for tens of thousands of years, the sky azure bull python had already developed a habit that it would never be able to change. However, Xiao Wu failed to notice the sky azure bull python's reaction. She was staring at Lu Yuan and Gu Yuna with an unblinking gaze, and the curiosity in her heart was growing even stronger. Lu Yuan slowly stopped, and he raised his head slightly. Their lips parted, and a transparent line appeared in midair. "Nar," Lu Yuan called out in a gentle voice. Gu Yuna opened her eyes, and there was a hint of confusion in her eyes. It seemed that she still hadn't emerged from that state. Moments later, Gu Yuna recovered, and her eyes lit up as she took in Lu Yuan's handsome face. Your lips are so sweet. If it weren't for the fact that we're in the wrong place, I really want to do it again. Lu Yuan chuckled. Gu Yuna shot a reproachful glance at Lu Yuan, but a hint of a smile appeared on her face. She was very pleased that Lu Yuan liked her so much. Let's go to the bottom of the lake of life later, all right? Lu Yuan asked in a gentle voice. A faint blush appeared on Gu Yuna's face, and she nodded lightly. She naturally knew what Lu Yuan wanted to do, and in reality, she also wanted to do it. She was the same, and she had already waited for 2 years. On top of that, Lu Yuan didn't have any children yet, and she wanted to have his first child with Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan had many wives, so he was definitely going to have many children in the future. However, no matter what, his first child was definitely the most anticipated. She didn't like to compete, but she hoped that her child would be the one that Lu Yuan cared about the most. Even Gu Yina was no exception to this. Of course, Gu Yina wasn't the only one. Bibi Dan, Chihiro Snow, Zhu Zhuqing, and even Hulina were all thinking the same thing. The only person who didn't was most likely Ning Rongrong. She was still at the stage of enjoying Lu Yuan's love, so she hadn't even considered having children. Chapter 977. I knew my Na was the best. It's been 2 years since we last fought. I really want to fight you again. But this time, it won't be like last time. This time, I'm going to thoroughly defeat you. Lu Yuan smiled when he saw Gu Yina nod her head. He spoke softly, and there was a tinge of determination in his voice. He was still brooding over his previous fight with Gu Yina. He had never met a worthy opponent after so many years of roaming the world. Even when he fought against many, he still won. However, he didn't expect to fight Gu Yina for so long. They were evenly matched, and there was no clear winner. Hence, he was determined to defeat Gu Yina completely this time and establish his invincible status. Defeat me, Gu Yina muttered softly. She looked at Lu Yuan with a smile in her eyes. Then let's see how capable you are. It'll be great if you can defeat me. Gu Yina blinked. She didn't mind being defeated, and she was willing to be conquered by Lu Yuan. She was just afraid that Lu Yuan didn't have the ability to do so. Then you'll have to wait and see. Lu Yuan chuckled. He wasn't the same person as before. He was much stronger now. Only Gu Yina could fight with him. Hulina and the others couldn't resist at all. The difference in their abilities was too great. Gu Yina smiled when she heard Lu Yuan's words. Her soft body was still in Lu Yuan's embrace, but she loosened her grip on Lu Yuan. She turned around gently and looked at Wang Qiu'er. Her eyes were wide open, and her mouth was pouting so hard that a soy sauce bottle could be hung on it. A look of curiosity flashed across her eyes. What did you do to Qiu'er? Why is she so angry? Gu Yina looked at Lu Yuan and asked softly, How can I bear to do anything to her? She's my baby. I can't wait to pamper her. Lu Yuan looked at Wang Qiu'er and said plainly, Humph, you make it sound so nice. You don't even like me anymore. Wang Qiu'er snorted and spoke with an aggrieved look on her face. Qiu'er, just tell Big Sister Na, or what your brother has done. Big Sister Na, or will make the decision for you, Gu Yina said gently. Wang Qiu'er glanced at Lu Yuan before turning back to Gu Yina. Brother doesn't want Qiu'er anymore. He found another younger sister, and he's even angry at Qiu'er because of her. Wang Qiu'er glared at Lu Yuan and complained. Is that true? Gu Yina looked at Lu Yuan and asked calmly. Yes, but Qiu'er didn't tell me everything. She was too agitated. Lu Yuan let go of Gu Yina and gently pulled Xiaolan to the side and said, This is the second sister I know, Xiaolan. This girl's eyes are so pure. Gu Yina's eyes brightened when she saw Xiaolan's clear blue eyes. She praised her softly. She had a good impression of Xiaolan, just from this one look. She was a very pure girl, as pure as a piece of white paper. Yes, Xiaolan is kind and pure. She's a very good girl. When I first saw her, I thought of Qiu'er. They're both as pure and cute. She was attacked by a bunch of evil soul masters. Lu Yuan spoke softly and recounted everything that had happened when he met Xiaolan. Xiaolan is kind, cute, and likable. Qiu'er is often alone, and there's no one to accompany her when I'm not around. I'm also worried that Qiu'er will be led astray by that gangster rabbit. That's why I took Xiaolan as my younger sister. I hoped that she could get along well with Qiu'er and become good sisters. I also wanted to find a partner for Qiu'er. I didn't expect Qiu'er to think that I didn't want her anymore. Lu Yuan sighed softly, and there was a tinge of helplessness in his voice. Naturally, he wouldn't blame Wang Xiao. Wang Xiao had thought too much about him because she valued him too much. He blamed himself for not considering the bigger picture. After all, Wang Xiao had always been a good girl in front of him. Who knew that she would suddenly become so agitated? In the end, he hadn't thought things through. Gu Yuna nodded after hearing Lu Yuan's words. She knew it. With Lu Yuan's personality, how could he not want Wang Xiao? So this was the specific reason. Xiao. Gu Yuna shouted at Wang Xiao. Wang Xiao blinked her big eyes and walked forward. She had heard Lu Yuan's words clearly and knew that she had misunderstood Lu Yuan. Brother, Wang Xiao said softly. She looked a little embarrassed. Do you still think that I'm doing this because I don't want you anymore? Lu Yuan pinched Wang Xiao's cheeks and snapped. No, brother. I'm just too agitated. It's my fault. However, I still mind a little. I'm your only sister. Wang Xiao had a serious look on her face as she spoke. No matter how many sisters you have, your love for me will never change. You and I will always be connected by blood, Lu Yuan said gently. Wang Xiao smiled when she heard this. Yes, no matter how many sisters he had, she was the only one who had the golden dragon's bloodline like him. She was unique. Wang Xiao was relieved when she thought of this. No matter what, she was irreplaceable in her brother's heart. Lu Yuan heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Wang Xiao smile. He held Wang Xiao's left hand in Xiaolan's right hand and said, Both of you are my sisters, so you're sisters too. You have to get along well in the future. Don't fight, okay? Yes, brother, Wang Xiao replied. Xiaolan looked at Lu Yuan. She still had some reservations in her heart. After all, Wang Xiao's words made her a little unhappy. However, she still nodded when she saw the hope in Lu Yuan's eyes. After all, she was very kind. More importantly, she didn't want to disappoint Lu Yuan. Good sister. Lu Yuan smiled, opened his arms, and hugged both of them at the same time. Gu Yuna and Lan Yin, who was silent at the side, smiled warmly when they saw this scene. The only one who wasn't happy was Xiao Wu. Her face was black, and her eyes were filled with indignation. She had clearly heard Lu Yuan call her a gangster bunny earlier. Furthermore, he had even said that Wang Xiao would be worried if she was with her, and that he was afraid that she would lead Wang Xiao astray. This was too much. She was so cute and obedient. How did she become a gangster bunny? That damned Lu Yuan was spouting nonsense. He was making things up. He was slandering Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu hadn't seen Lu Yuan for many years. She had even forgotten what it felt like to tremble under the golden dragon's pressure. She had been trapped in the forest for many years, and she was licked by the sky azure bull python every day. She was a little jumpy again. Her crazy personality was showing signs of rearing its head again. Chapter 978. Xiao Wu was indignant at the side, while Lu Yuan hugged Wang Xiao and Xiaolan before gently releasing them. Looking at the two adorable sisters in front of him, the corners of Lu Yuan's mouth could not help but curl up into a gentle smile. He gently rubbed the two women's heads before casting his gaze toward Gu Yuna. You've come back for something, haven't you? Do you want to settle Xiaolan down with me? Gu Yuna asked softly when she sensed Lu Yuan's gaze. Lu Yuan smiled faintly when he heard this. You're really smart, Na. You saw through my intentions immediately. I knew you wouldn't come here for no reason. If you didn't have something to say, the first person you'd want to see would be either Chihiro Snow or BB Dawn. In any case, it definitely wouldn't be me, Gu Yuna said in a faint voice. Gu Yuna said faintly, with a trace of inexplicable look in her eyes. She was clearly the most beautiful, but the one this pervert loved the most was not her. Even though she didn't like to fight, she wasn't completely indifferent. What are you talking about? I want to see all of you. There's no first or last. Lu Yuan retorted. Is that so? Is there really no first or last place in your heart? Gu Yuna asked. Nar, I'm talking about first or last place, not first or last place. It's all the same. I'm asking you if there's a first or last place. Gu Yuna stared at Lu Yuan with a scorching gaze. Well, Nar, I'm also a human. I'm not a machine, so Lu Yuan scratched his head and wanted to say something, but stopped himself. So there's still a first or last place? Gu Yuna pursed her lips as she spoke. Lu Yuan smiled awkwardly and didn't reply. Oomph. Gu Yuna snorted softly when she saw Lu Yuan's awkward smile. She said in a coquettish voice, I can't be bothered to talk about these unhappy things. Since you're here, don't even think about leaving until you've accompanied me for 2 months. Even though I'm not the one you love the most, your first child must be with me. Lu Yuan, Sister, you're so cool. Wang Qiu cheered. Indeed, domineering. Xiaolan's eyes widened. This was the first time she had seen someone who dared to speak to Lu Yuan in such a tone. Sometimes, confidence came from strength. Lu Yuan wasn't as strong as Lu Yuan, so if she didn't want to let Lu Yuan go, he wouldn't be able to. Nar, you seem to have changed a little. Lu Yuan looked at Gu Yuna with a strange expression. How have I changed? Gu Yuna asked. You've become even more beautiful. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Don't think that you'll be able to convince me just because you say nice things. I won't buy it. You have to stay with me for 2 months. Don't even think about leaving if you miss one day. Gu Yuna snorted. Her attitude was very tough. Yes. I'll accompany you. I'll accompany you for 3 months, let alone 2 months. I'm really defeated by you. You only know how to use your strength to suppress me. Lu Yuan shrugged and said helplessly, That's because I'm stronger than you. Gu Yuna raised her head and said, Also, you said 3 months. I'll remember it. Don't go back on your word. Of course I'll go back on my word. I'm the one who's happy with you. Why would I go back on my word? Lu Yuan said softly, and a mischievous smile appeared on his face. Gu Yuna's face immediately blushed when she heard this. Her jade-like cheeks blushed, and it was a very moving sight. Sister Na is so beautiful. Xiaolan's eyes widened as she praised. Her silver hair danced in the wind. Her purple eyes were filled with mystery and nobility, and her nose was tall and exquisite. Coupled with the blush on her face, Gu Yuna was indeed extremely beautiful. Sister Na is the most beautiful. Wang Qiu giggled and looked proud. Among Lu Yuan's women, she had the best relationship with Gu Yuna, followed by Ning Rongrong. She would also feel happy when someone praised Gu Yuna. Indeed, Na is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. I'm lucky to have Na-er's love. Lu Yuan said with a sincere expression. Then why did you open a harem? Gu Yuna was delighted when she heard Lu Yuan's praise. Then, she seemed to have thought of something and said faintly. Lu Yuan's face fell as soon as he heard those words. That was a huge blow to him. He really wanted to say that it wasn't him who wanted to open a harem, but someone else wanted him to. However, he felt that Gu Yuna wouldn't believe him. Cough, cough. It seems like I've messed up something. Carrot, Wang Qiu and the others laughed when they saw Lu Yuan's face fall and that he had nothing to say. However, their voices were very soft, except for a certain rabbit. She laughed very happily and instantly attracted Lu Yuan's attention. Is it that funny, little rabbit? Lu Yuan glanced at Xiao Wu and asked faintly. Haha, of course it's funny. Your speechless look is too funny. Xiao Wu laughed, and her laughter was very crisp. Lu Yuan's face darkened when he saw this. Since when did this little rabbit dare to be so impudent? Does she really think that she's awesome just because she's a 100,000-year gangster rabbit? Sister Xiao Wu, stop laughing. The sky azure bull python was frightened when he saw Lu Yuan's face darken. It wasn't that he was timid, but that Lu Yuan, Gu Yuna, and the others had too high a status. It and Xiao Wu had the lowest status here. However, Xiao Wu had taken the initiative to cause trouble. If Lu Yuan wanted to settle the score, it would be a big problem. The hierarchy between soul beasts was much stricter than that of humans. Just like Gu Yuna, Lu Yuan was now the highest leader of the soul beasts. This was something that Gu Yuna had personally instructed him to do, and it was also the origin of his title. Xiao Wu's provocation would be fine if Lu Yuan didn't take it to heart, but if he did, he would probably be skinned alive. Why can't I laugh? It's so funny, why can't I laugh? Xiao Wu pouted. She still remembered clearly how Lu Yuan had called her a gangster bunny, and how she would lead Wang Qiu astray. This was a rare opportunity to mock her. Wouldn't he let her laugh a little more? Gu Yuna frowned when she heard Xiao Wu's words, and a fierce look flashed across her purple eyes. She gently raised her hand, and energy gathered. Suddenly, a hand grabbed her hand, and she looked up to see Lu Yuan shaking his head at her. She was disrespectful to you, and offending a superior is a crime punishable by death. Gu Yuna transmitted her voice, and there was a hint of anger in her voice. She could joke with Lu Yuan, and it was fine for Wang Qiu and the others to laugh. After all, they were all family. However, Xiao Wu was just 100,000 years soft-bone rabbit, and she dared to mock Lu Yuan. She was courting death. It shouldn't be that serious. Besides, she's also a soul beast, and she's from the same race as you. She's quite pitiful, so let her go, Lu Yuan transmitted his voice. Since she's a soul beast, then she deserves to die. I've said that I won't allow any soul beast to disrespect you. Gu Yuna's voice was calm, but it was very firm. Chapter 979. Lu Yuan's heart warmed slightly when he heard Gu Yuna's resolute words. He didn't expect Gu Yuna to go to such an extent for him. He was really touched. However, Lu Yuan still insisted on his own way of thinking. It would be too cruel to kill Xiao Wu just like that. To be honest, Xiao Wu was so pitiful. She could only stay in the forest, and that had something to do with him. It would be too much to kill her just because she laughed a little. Furthermore, even though he called her a gangster rabbit, he still treated Xiao Wu as a friend. Forget it. She's still alive. Furthermore, even though this little rabbit is a little jumpy, she has a good heart. Perhaps she threw a tantrum because I called her a gangster rabbit and said that she led Qiu astray. She just wanted to vent her anger. She doesn't have any ill intentions. Just teach her a lesson. There's no need to kill her. Don't be so murderous. Lu Yuan held Gu Yuna's hand and looked straight into her eyes as he spoke gently. I'm murderous? Gu Yuna sized up Lu Yuan and suddenly laughed coldly. She transmitted her voice to him. You're trying so hard to explain why I shouldn't kill her. Don't tell me your old habits are acting up again. You're really something, Lu Yuan. She was venting her anger for him, but this fellow was still pleading for mercy. To be honest, Gu Yuna wasn't very happy. I'll take a liking to her. She's a rabbit. A rabbit. Do you think I'll take a liking to a rabbit? Lu Yuan transmitted his voice unhappily. That's hard to say. Maybe you're so hungry that you can't be picky. Furthermore, dragons don't seem to be picky about any species. Gu Yuna said plainly. There were very few purebred true dragons on the continent, but there were many semi-dragons, mixed-blood dragons, and soul beasts with dragon bloodlines. It was easy to understand where these soul beasts came from. Who said I'm not picky? I'm picky. Apart from you, which of my girlfriends is cross-species? I only picked you. Lu Yuan retorted. So you really don't have any thoughts about this rabbit? Think about it carefully before you speak. If you have feelings for her, I'll spare her since you like her. After all, I don't want to see you angry. But if you don't like her, then kill her. She deserves to die for being disrespectful to you. Gu Yuna said with a smile. All right, don't test me. I really don't have any thoughts about her. I just can't bear to see her die because we're friends. I don't have so many crooked thoughts. Besides, with a beauty like you by my side, all my thoughts are only on you. Lu Yuan said gently. Really? Gu Yuna asked. It can't be any more real. Lu Yuan nodded. Then I'll reluctantly believe you. Gu Yuna smiled gently. She was quite satisfied with Lu Yuan's answer. What are you going to do with this little rabbit? Gu Yuna asked softly. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, she had already dispelled the idea of killing. Teach her a good lesson. Teaching a gangster rabbit a lesson or something? I'm quite interested. Lu Yuan smiled faintly and walked over to Xiao Wu. Seeing Lu Yuan walk over, Xiao Wu immediately stopped laughing. Just now, she was laughing quite happily and didn't think too much. Now that Lu Yuan was walking over, she was a little scared. Although she was crazy, Lu Yuan's identity was different after all. Moreover, as Lu Yuan got closer, A terrifying pressure slowly pressed down on her body, causing her to tremble slightly. What do you want? Xiao Wu looked at Lu Yuan with wide eyes and asked with a little panic. What do you think? Lu Yuan smiled lightly and asked back. Soon, Lu Yuan was less than 3 meters away from Xiao Wu. The pressure of the bloodline of the five-clawed golden dragon king naturally seeped out from his body, and Xiao Wu was trembling with fear. Her face was pale, and she was trembling with fear again. Your Excellency, the Sky Azure Bull Python looked at Lu Yuan and Xiao Wu's pale face, and wanted to say something, but it was cut off by Lu Yuan before it could finish. This is none of your business. Go away. Lu Yuan casually pressed a hand down, and a huge burst of invisible power pressed down on the Sky Azure Bull Python. It struggled to no avail. What a pitiful bootlicker! Lu Yuan shook his head internally. The Sky Azure Bull Python was once the emperor of the forest, and it was one of the most powerful soul beasts below the great beasts, yet it had to be a bootlicker. It would be fine if you could lick her, but this little rabbit clearly wasn't interested in you at all. What's the point of licking someone who can't even be licked? Or has it become a habit of licking her for too long? Perhaps that's the case, Lu Yuan thought to himself. However, Lu Yuan only thought about it for a moment before he stepped forward again, and he quickly arrived in front of Xiao Wu. Don't come any closer. Xiao Wu was completely immobilized by the pressure, and she could only yell out, I'm going to come closer. Little rabbit, are you scared now? Lu Yuan stood in front of Xiao Wu and gently pinched her cheek with his right hand. He exerted a little force, and Xiao Wu's expression immediately changed as she let loose a cry of pain. It hurts. Xiao Wu pouted as tears welled up in her eyes. Does it hurt a lot? Lu Yuan chuckled softly, but his left hand also pinched Xiao Wu's other cheek, gently pulling it with both hands. Xiao Wu's face was quite elastic, and it felt quite good to pinch. Lu Yuan pulled left and right, and he had a lot of fun. However, while Lu Yuan was having fun, Xiao Wu was in a lot of pain. The tears in her big eyes were about to fall down. She whimpered and looked at Lu Yuan with an aggrieved expression. Little rabbit, do you still dare to laugh at me in the future? Looking at Xiao Wu's aggrieved expression, Lu Yuan was amused. After so many years, this little rabbit had grown up quite a bit, but she was still as cute as before. I don't dare anymore. Xiao Wu's cheeks were being pulled, and her voice was unclear. Although she was very unhappy with Lu Yuan's bad behavior, she still chose to follow her heart when faced with the torture and the pressure that made her body and mind tremble. I'll only laugh at him in my heart in the future, Xiao Wu thought to herself. Then, she scolded Lu Yuan. You really don't dare anymore? Why do I feel like you're scolding me in your heart? With Lu Yuan's eyesight, how could he not know what Xiao Wu was thinking? He immediately increased the strength in his hand, and Xiao Wu immediately cried out in pain. She grabbed Lu Yuan's hand with her two little hands, and her eyes were full of begging for mercy. This time, she really didn't dare to have any other thoughts. Facing Lu Yuan, she finally knew fear. Chapter 980. Xiao Wu stared at Lu Yuan with her big eyes as she pleaded, Ouch, stop pinching. It hurts. I really don't dare to scold you anymore. You really don't dare to? Or what if you scold me in your heart after I let go of you? I can't keep an eye on you all the time. Lu Yuan looked at Xiao Wu with a half smile, but he stopped what he was doing. Xiao Wu shook her head like a rattle drum as she said, Xiao Wu won't do that. Xiao Wu is very obedient. Xiao Wu won't scold you. Obedient? Lu Yuan's mouth twitched. Don't you know whether you're obedient or not? It's not my first day knowing you. You caused a lot of trouble in the past. Now you're telling me that you're obedient? Do you think I'm stupid? Lu Yuan was amused as he said this. After that, he pinched Xiao Wu's cheeks again. Ouch! Xiao Wu cried out in pain. She looked at Lu Yuan with an aggrieved expression and said, Xiao Wu is really obedient now. Xiao Wu hasn't caused any trouble. Really? Lu Yuan glanced at the Sky Azure Bull Python. Your Honor, it's true. Sister Xiao Wu hasn't caused any trouble for a long time, the Sky Azure Bull Python said. Is that so, Chiao? Lu Yuan turned to Wang Chiao. Yes, Sister Xiao hasn't caused any trouble recently. I don't know what happened to her, but she's become a lot more obedient, Wang Chiao said. It seems like you've become more obedient. However, your personality hasn't changed. You even dare to mock me. After hearing Wang Xiao's words, Lu Yuan believed her. However, he couldn't help but pinch her cheeks again when he thought about what had just happened. I won't do it again in the future, Xiao Wu said softly. You still want to have a future? Lu Yuan raised his eyebrows and raised his voice. There won't be a future. There won't be a future. Xiao Wu hurriedly shook her head. She looked a little nervous. Seeing Xiao Wu's appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh. This little rabbit's frightened appearance was quite interesting. Lu Yuan pinched Xiao Wu's cheeks again and looked straight into her eyes. I'll let it go this time. Let's stop here. You have to be more obedient in the future, okay? Yes, yes. Xiao Wu nodded. Don't be that gangster bunny from before. You've grown up. Even if we don't talk about your 100,000 years of cultivation, you're almost 19 years old like me after transforming into your human form. You're a big girl now, and you should be more sensible. Try to learn to be more ladylike in the future. Once you've matured, you'll have to step into the human world again sooner or later. You don't really want to stay in the Great Star Douluo Forest core region forever, do you? Lu Yuan said gently. Xiao Wu lowered her head and was silent for a moment. Then, she said, Xiao Wu doesn't want to go out. The humans outside are too evil. They only want Xiao Wu's soul ring and soul bone. Xiao Wu's expression was a little sorrowful. It was obvious that she had suffered a huge blow. It'll be fine if you hide better in the future. Furthermore, you can accompany Chiao, and the rest when you go out. I have a lot of influence outside. If you stay with Chiao, and the rest, no one can hurt you. You can't always stay cooped up in the forest. Furthermore, you've already transformed into a human. Once you reach your matured stage, you'll be no different from a human except for your soul bone. No one can tell your true form, so you don't have to worry so much. Lu Yuan said gently. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Xiao Wu's expression changed slightly. She seemed to be deep in thought. You really don't want to go out? Don't you miss the good food and pretty clothes outside? Lu Yuan's eyes turned as he laughed softly. After hearing this, Xiao Wu's eyes lit up. They were dazzling, and there was a look of longing on her face. It seems like you want to go out again. Lu Yuan smiled. He hit the nail on the head. Xiao Wu could never get over good food and pretty clothes. Xiao Wu pursed her lips slightly when she heard this. She was a little embarrassed. Lu Yuan had said so much, but she didn't agree to go out. It wasn't as good as pretty clothes. She was moved just by the mention of it. All right, you don't have to be embarrassed. It's not a shameful thing to like these things. Isn't it normal for girls to like pretty clothes? That's why you should stay here and cultivate. At the same time, you should change your gangster rabbit personality. Don't be so crazy in front of people. This personality won't work. After all, not everyone will be as accommodating as the sky azure bull python. It won't work if you still have this personality when you're in the human world. Furthermore, Chiao and Xiaolan will be staying in the Great Star Douluo Forest for a long time. You're both soul beasts in human form, and you're older than them. You're their elder sister, so you have to set a good example for them. Do you understand? Got it, Xiao Wu replied and nodded her little head obediently. That's a good girl. Lu Yuan nodded in satisfaction. He let go of Xiao Wu's cheeks and patted her head gently with a smile on his face. When he was young, he was too vicious. He made arrangements for Xiao Wu to be trapped in the forest. He didn't think much of it back then, but now that he thought about it, Xiao Wu was innocent. She didn't do anything wrong, so Lu Yuan felt a little apologetic. The Great Star Douluo Forest was the same. The scenery was beautiful, but it was monotonous. How could it compare to the splendor of the human world? Rather than letting Xiao Wu grow old alone in the forest, it was better for her to go out and get some fresh air. As for danger, he controlled the Dragon King Palace and the Martial Soul Palace. Protecting a little rabbit wasn't a problem for him. Lu Yuan withdrew his hand from Xiao Wu's head and smiled faintly. He walked in the direction of Gu Yuna and Wang Xiao. On the other hand, Xiao Wu's eyes were wide open as they sparkled. Lu Yuan's words still had quite a bit of impact on her. You had a lot of fun just now. Did it feel good to pinch that rabbit's cheeks? Gu Yuna looked at Lu Yuan with a scrutinizing look in her eyes. She seemed to be smiling, but she wasn't smiling. It's so weird. It doesn't feel as good as pinching your cheeks. They're white and tender and smooth to the touch. It's like I can squeeze water out of them. Lu Yuan hugged Gu Yuna and pinched her cheeks gently with one hand. You're so talkative. Gu Yuna rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan. However, her body was very honest. She lay quietly in Lu Yuan's arms and didn't move. The two of them hugged gently. Wang Xiu'er and Xiao Lan looked at the two of them, and their eyes rolled around. They were very cute. Suddenly, there was an explosion in the sky. Frightening energy undulations spread in the sky. The energy released a frightening pressure. Apart from Lu Yuan and Gu Yuna, everyone's expressions changed. This battle was at the level of a demigod. Di Tian, who's the other one? Gu Yuna asked softly. There was a doubtful look in her eyes. That's the deep-sea devil whale king, a transcendent soul beast that's close to 1,000,000 years old. Lu Yuan said plainly. Chapter 981. Why are they fighting? It can't be you, right? Gu Yuna glanced at Lu Yuan and asked suspiciously. Who else could it be other than me? Lu Yuan was honest and admitted it directly. What are you up to now? Gu Yuna asked curiously. Nothing. Lu Yuan shook his head and said, Do you think I'll believe you? Gu Yuna glared at Lu Yuan and moved in front of Lu Yuan. Her purple eyes stared into his eyes. Tell me, you want to hide it from me? Lu Yuan blinked and said softly, It's really nothing. I just want to find a chance to beat Di Tian up. Then, Lu Yuan told Gu Yuna his thoughts. Gu Yuna looked at him with amusement. You really hold a grudge. You actually want to beat Di Tian up. What else can I do? If I don't beat Di Tian up, I'll beat you up. I can't bear to do it, but I won't feel good if I don't vent my anger. I can only beat Di Tian up. Although you gave the order, he was the one who did it. It's not wrong for him to take the blame. Lu Yuan said indifferently. You're right. Gu Yuna nodded in agreement. She didn't want to be beaten up, but she could not vent her anger on Lu Yuan. There was nothing wrong with letting Di Tian take the blame. Regarding this point, Gu Yuna's thoughts and Lu Yuan's were surprisingly in agreement. However, the pitiful Di Tian didn't know anything. He was still fighting bitterly. Who do you think will win? Gu Yuna asked curiously. Di Tian, I think. He should be slightly better. After all, the deep-sea demon whale king is injured and has lost an arm. It has a huge impact on his strength. Lu Yuan said seriously. You did it? Gu Yuna asked. Lu Yuan nodded lightly and said, He wanted to eat me, but I killed him instead. Want to eat you? Damn it. Gu Yuna's eyes suddenly flashed with a fierce light, and her killing intent surged. It's fine. It's already over, and he's going to die soon. I want him to be a sacrifice for Dong Air. Lu Yuan said softly. Sacrifice? If it were me, I would have consigned him to eternal damnation and obliterated his body and soul. He wants to eat you? He's really courting death. Gu Yuna spoke softly, and her killing intent overflowed. Her protective nature was undoubtedly revealed. Lu Yuan smiled and kissed Gu Yuna gently on the lips. He hugged her tighter. How could he not love Gu Yuna when she was like this? I'm doing this for Xiaolan's sake. Otherwise, he would have died a long time ago, Lu Yuan said gently. Little Blue, she's indeed a very good girl. She is very pure and kind. She is quite likable. Gu Yuna said softly. I think so too. Lu Yuan smiled, and his smile was warm and bright. In the air, the sound of energy explosions continued to sound, and it had already attracted the attention of many fierce beasts. Bai Ji, Violet Princess, Scarlet King, and the others rushed over. After bowing to Lu Yuan and Gu Yuna, they began to pay attention to the battle in the sky. To them, it was very rare for them to see such a battle. Furthermore, all of them were very curious as to who could fight with Di Tian to such an extent. Dragon God's Claw. In the air, Di Tian roared. The black dragon claw emitted a deep light, and there was a nine-colored light flashing. An extremely terrifying aura condensed on Di Tian's dragon claw. Suddenly, Di Tian's aura skyrocketed, and he instantly rose to an extremely high level. Seeing this scene, the deep-sea magic whale king's expression changed. However, with Lu Yuan's death order, he did not dare to retreat. The purple divine armor on his body shone brightly, and boundless lightning energy began to erupt. In the air, with the deep-sea magic whale king as the center, a terrifying lightning domain was formed. It was filled with explosive lightning energy. Interesting. Is he going to decide the victor in one strike? Lu Yuan's lips curled up as he said with interest. With the power of the dragon god's claw, although that lightning domain looks fierce, we'll definitely not be able to block it. Gu Yuna said indifferently. No one knew the power of the dragon god's claw better than her. No matter how strong the dragon god's claw is, it can't compare to the true dragon claw. If Di Tian uses the true dragon claw, the deep-sea magic whale king will die with this strike. Lu Yuan said in a deep voice. Indeed, Gu Yuna nodded her head, expressing her approval. She also knew the true dragon claw, so she naturally knew that the power of the true dragon claw was far above the dragon god's claw. With her current strength, using the true dragon claw, she could challenge any god king of the divine world and not lose. In addition to the esoteric character, in a one-on-one battle, even the Azura god with the strongest attack in the divine world would be defeated by her. It could be said that the current Gu Yuna was much stronger than before. Originally, her strength had just entered the god king realm, and she might not be a match for the weakest of the five god kings, the life goddess. But now, her overall strength could defeat any god king of the divine world. If they were to attack the divine world in the future, Gu Yuna would definitely be an indispensable battle force. The deep-sea magic whale king is going to lose, Lu Yuan said softly, and his eyes flickered. In midair, the dragon god's claw, which was shining with nine-colored radiance, fiercely collided with the deep-sea demon whale king's lightning domain. Suddenly, an earth-shaking explosion sounded. The endless lightning domain collapsed, turning into a gorgeous blue-purple lightning rain that sprinkled down from the sky. Terrifying energy fluctuations swept out, and the entire sky was dyed blue-purple. That terrifying power could be felt even from the ground, as a formless energy hurricane attacked. Beside the Lake of Life, Lu Yuan released his energy to protect Wang Qiu and Xiaolon. However, the others were not so lucky. Lan Yin and the others' bodies sank, and the Scarlet King and the other wild beast's soul power surged as they tried their best to resist. The Sky Azure Bull Python's head was pressed to the ground, and the most pitiful was Xiao Wu. Her face was deathly pale, and she was pressed to the ground. She blinked her big eyes, and her pearly white teeth bit her red lips, looking very pitiful. Lu Yuan shook his head slightly, and his palms sucked in the air, pulling Xiao Wu's body into his protective range. Thank you. Xiao Wu looked at Lu Yuan gratefully and thanked him. You're welcome. It's nothing. Lu Yuan wiped the dust off Xiao Wu's face and said, Cultivate well in the future. You're really too weak now. Xiao Wu had just reached rank 60, and she was almost 19 years old. She hadn't consumed any immortal herbs, and Xiao Wu's talent could be said to be quite good. However, in front of these top-tier powerhouses, rank 60 was far from enough. I know. I'll cultivate well. Xiao Wu nodded her little head and said seriously. Okay. Lu Yuan nodded slightly and turned around. Two streaks of light fell from the sky and landed on the ground, causing the entire earth to tremble. Two huge craters appeared where they landed. These two craters naturally contained Di Tian and the deep-sea demon whale king. Although Di Tian had won this battle, it was clearly a Pyrrhic victory. Chapter 982. Boom! The ground shook, and dust flew everywhere. Di Tian and the deep-sea demon whale king fell from the sky, causing quite a commotion. Dust filled the sky, and the two huge craters were covered by dust, making it hard to see clearly. Lu Yuan waved his sleeves, and a formless wind element gathered to form a strong gale. It blew away all the dust in the sky, and the scene in the craters was revealed. Di Tian, hubby, daddy, Bai Ji, Lan Yin, and Xiao Lan, who was beside Lu Yuan, rushed out and rushed towards the two craters. Lu Yuan and Gu Yuna didn't move and remained where they were. Di Tian is injured, but the deep-sea demon whale king is more seriously injured. Gu Yuna glanced at them and said plainly. With her spiritual power, she could clearly sense Di Tian and the deep-sea demon whale king's injuries, even if she didn't go forward. I know, I can already sense it, Lu Yuan said plainly. So you still want to beat Di Tian up? Gu Yuna blinked and asked. You're testing me again. Lu Yuan tapped Gu Yuna's nose and said plainly. Am I such an inhumane person? Beating him up now is taking his life. Let's talk about it after he recovers. He grabbed me twice, and I should beat him up twice. But seeing that he's injured, I'll treat it as the first time. As for the deep-sea demon whale king, let's forget about it. Sai, why am I always so kind? Lu Yuan sighed and shook his head. You're kind? At most, you have a little conscience. Don't you know how many people you've killed? Gu Yuna asked, amused. I really don't know, but it's quite a lot. Lu Yuan recalled that he had killed evil soul masters when he was 6 years old. He couldn't remember how many people he had killed until now. But even though he had killed so many people, he could guarantee that he had never killed an unarmed, ordinary person. This was the last thing he insisted on. As for soul masters, why wouldn't he kill them if they were his enemies? If he didn't kill them, was he going to keep them for the new year? Since you've killed so many people, you still have the nerve to say that you're kind? Gu Yuna looked at Lu Yuan with disdain. Oh my, are you bent on going against me? Lu Yuan held Gu Yuna's waist with his left hand and gently raised her chin with his right hand, looking at her with a strange smile. What's wrong? You can't out-talk me, so you want to fight? Gu Yuna said calmly. Yeah. Lu Yuan approached Gu Yuna and gently sniffed the fragrance wafting from her red lips. A mischievous smile appeared on his face as he said, Since you've already said that I'm not a kind person, then I can only show you my evil side. I can't be bothered to wait for them to come out. Let's go to the bottom of the lake of life and have a good chat. You pervert. Gu Yuna's fair and tender face blushed slightly. Her beauty was indescribable. Hey, you're wrong. I'm giving you a chance to have a baby. Don't you want to be the first to have a baby? You have to grasp this opportunity well, Lu Yuan retorted. Furthermore, I'm only going to stay for 3 months. Whether you can get pregnant or not will depend on your abilities. I've already said that our bloodlines aren't simple. It's very difficult to have a child. Lu Yuan added with a smile. Puffed. Aren't you just lusting after my body? So many excuses. Hypocrites. Gu Yuna spat and said, I won't deny that I'm lusting after your body. Lu Yuan smiled and let go of Gu Yuna's chin. He extended his hand, and a jade bottle appeared in Lu Yuan's hand. He turned his body slightly and placed the jade bottle in Wang Qiu-er's hand. Qiu-er, give one of the healing pills in this bottle to Di Tian and the deep-sea demonic whale king. Your sister Na, and I will make a move first. Lu Yuan smiled as he looked at Wang Qiu. Go. I knew that brother was going to do something embarrassing again. You're such a perverted brother. Wang Qiu received the jade bottle and shook her hand. Her voice was crisp and pleasant. However, Lu Yuan's face turned black after hearing Wang Qiu-er's words. Damn, since when does Wang Qiu-er know so much? Ning Rong must have taught her. Yes, I'll give her a good spanking next time I see her. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Lu Yuan's face turned black, but Gu Yuna burst out laughing. Lu Yuan had always been unrestrained, and no one could control him. However, Lu Yuan couldn't refute Wang Qiu-er's words at all. You're still laughing? See how I'll deal with you later. Lu Yuan glared at Lu Yuan, a little embarrassed. After that, golden light flashed, and he and Gu Yuna disappeared from where they were. In the underground space of the Lake of Life, Lu Yuan placed Gu Yuna on the stone bed before pouncing on her. 9-colored light filled the entire underground space. Lu Yuan and Gu Yina were leaning against each other. Their eyes were locked, and they were completely naked as they lay on the stone bed. Are you convinced? Lu Yuan smiled as he asked. There was a tinge of pride in his voice. He had finally convinced Gu Yina. How did you become so powerful? Even though you have a Class 3 godly body, which isn't weaker than a Class 2 godly body, I still have a Class 1 godly body. How did you defeat me? Gu Yina was in disbelief as she looked at Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan coughed and said, a 5-clawed golden dragon is very talented. It's 10 times or even 100 times stronger than the Golden Dragon King. It's very easy for it to fight those of a higher level. You know what I mean? You're already so strong now. What about when you become a godly king? Oh my God! Gu Yina imagined that scenario, and for the first time, she was struck by a hint of fear. Hee hee, you're scared now, aren't you? Haven't you always been very confident? Lu Yuan chuckled as he raised Gu Yina's chin. I was very confident, but who would have thought that you'd be so freakish? I think even the 6 of us together won't be able to defeat you. Gu Yina shook her head in response. Then how about I find 2 more to share the burden with you? Lu Yuan asked. Why don't you give it a try? If I can't kill you, then I'll admit defeat. Gu Yina glared at Lu Yuan and said, I'm the Silver Dragon King, and I've given myself to you, yet I can't have you all to myself. You're not the main wife, and you want to be a concubine, but you already have 6, and you still want more? What do you take me for? Do you really think I don't have a temper just because I have a good temper? Do you really think I won't throw a tantrum? Gu Yina's gorgeous little cheeks puffed up slightly as she stared intently at Lu Yuan with a pair of sharp purple eyes. I believe you. I believe you. Don't get angry. Don't get angry. Lu Yuan immediately conceded to Gu Yina as he hurriedly consoled her. Gu Yina harumphed coldly and asked, I've discovered that my obedience to you is making you more and more reckless. Are you going to be up to no good again on this trip to the Sea God's Island? Chapter 983. No, I'm very honest. I don't like anyone. Lu Yuan said softly. Really? Gu Yina asked suspiciously. Of course it's true. Lu Yuan said with certainty. It's true. I really don't like anyone, but someone likes me. Lu Yuan thought to himself. That's more like it. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Gu Yina responded and gently snuggled into Lu Yuan's arms. Then, she frowned slightly. What's wrong? Seeing Gu Yina frowning, Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask with concern. It hurts and my whole body is soft. I don't have any strength. It's all your fault. Gu Yina glared at Lu Yuan and said softly. It's all my fault. Don't move. Let's lie down for a while. In fact, I don't have much strength. Although I'm better than you, I'm also at the end of my rope. After all, today is the 7th day. If it weren't for the fact that we both have divine bodies, we would have died long ago. Lu Yuan said faintly. Hearing this, Gu Yina couldn't help but stare at Lu Yuan with amusement and anger. One wanted to win, while the other didn't want to lose so easily. This battle was quite tragic. Lu Yuan hugged Gu Yina tightly. White light emerged from his body, and the clear Qi divine power was circulating, dispelling the fatigue of both of them. The clear Qi divine power had endless uses. Soon, the 2 of them recovered. The more I see your clear Qi divine power, the more mystical I find it. Gu Yina couldn't help but sigh softly when she felt the fatigue in her body was swept away. Clear Qi, godly power, is naturally endlessly profound. Lu Yuan smiled faintly and said softly, the clear Qi divine power contained the divine power of rules. It was extremely mysterious and could be said to have endless magical uses. Are you all right now? Lu Yuan asked softly. I'm all right. I've completely recovered. Gu Yina said, well, it's good that you've recovered. Then get up. Although I want to continue being intimate with you like this, I still have to do business. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Hearing this, Gu Yina could not help but glare at Lu Yuan, but she did not say anything. She was actually quite happy that Lu Yuan liked her so much. After washing up, The two of them dressed neatly and sat side by side on a flight of stairs in the underground space. What do you want to do next? Absorb your 8th soul ring? Gu Yuna asked in a quiet voice as she leaned her head against Lu Yuan's shoulder. Yes, it's time to absorb my 8th soul ring. I've been postponing it for a long time, Lu Yuan said softly. He had reached rank 80 over a year ago and had been cultivating all this time. If he were to add a normal soul ring, he would be able to reach rank 85 at the very least. If he were to add a soul ring from the Water Dragon King, he would be close to rank 90 at the very least. It was really a huge jump of 3 levels. Then go ahead and absorb your 8th soul ring. I'll stay in guard for you, Gu Yuna said gently. Yes. Lu Yuan nodded gently and reached out to stroke Gu Yuna's silver hair. After that, he patted her head gently. Gu Yuna stood up, and Lu Yuan found another place to sit cross-legged. The spiritual power barrier was removed, and the clear air divine seed in his mind removed the barrier. Lu Yuan and Gu Yuna's intimate interaction could not be seen by others. Hence, he used his spiritual power to activate the clear air divine seed to block the senses of the Water Dragon King and the Fire Dragon King. Of course, this was not the first time he had done this. He would do this every time he interacted with BB Dawn and Hulina. To be honest, the Water Dragon King and the Fire Dragon King were already used to it. Every time they were blocked, they knew what Lu Yuan was doing. The figure formed by spiritual power stepped into the spiritual sea. On the golden beach, the Water Dragon King and the Fire Dragon King were comfortably basking in their clear air divine seed. Oh, what a rare guest. You're also free to come in and play. The Fire Dragon King's boorish voice sounded when he saw Lu Yuan. After staying in Lu Yuan's mind for so long, they were already familiar with each other. The Water Dragon King looked at Lu Yuan and asked softly, "Do you have something for us to do?" "Yes, I want to obtain my 8th soul ring, so I'll have to trouble you," Lu Yuan said plainly. "Phew, this day has finally come. Who do you want to be your 8th soul ring?" The Fire Dragon King asked. "I might have to go to the extreme north in the future, and I might need to use the power of extreme ice. Hence, I'll choose you, Water Dragon King," Lu Yuan said. "All right, leave it to me," the Water Dragon King replied. "Thank you. Actually, after the sacrifice, you can reappear in the spiritual sea. You should have felt the wonders of the clear air divine seed, right?" Lu Yuan asked. "Yes." The Water and Fire Dragon Kings nodded at the same time. With the clear air divine seed, their sacrifice was a small matter. Their souls could quickly recover, so it wasn't a big problem. In fact, the main problem was that Lu Yuan couldn't perfectly absorb the energy in the Water Dragon King's God Core. Otherwise, the Water Dragon King might not have to sacrifice himself. For example, the Fire Dragon King probably wouldn't have to sacrifice himself when Lu Yuan reached the 9th soul ring. At that time, Lu Yuan would definitely be able to absorb the energy of a Class 1 God Core. "Then I'll go out first." Lu Yuan nodded and said, "Go. I'm ready," the Water Dragon King said. Lu Yuan nodded again, and his spiritual body directly left the spiritual sea. He opened his eyes, and his polychoria flashed with a sharp light. Lu Yuan's body began to emit golden light. The 5-clawed golden dragon King Martial Soul was instantly attached to his body, and 7 soul rings shone brightly. Using the clear air scripture, Lu Yuan's body began to emit tyrannical energy fluctuations. An intense and domineering aura swept out, and a terrifying bloodline pressure filled the entire area. Obuchi's bloodline pressure seems to be getting stronger and stronger. Feeling the power of the bloodline pressure, Gu Yuna couldn't help but sigh softly. As Lu Yuan's strength increased, the bloodline pressure became even more tyrannical. It seemed that the current Lu Yuan hadn't developed the 5-clawed Golden Dragon King's bloodline to its limit. If Obuchi grows to become a Class 1 god, his bloodline will probably make me crawl on the ground. Even the dragon god of the past would have to bow before him. What a terrifying bloodline. The bloodline of a true dragon is really extraordinary. Gu Yuna spoke softly with a trace of amazement in her eyes. Although she had long known that Lu Yuan's bloodline was powerful, she was still shocked today. Gu Yuna exclaimed, but Lu Yuan didn't have time to pay attention to Gu Yuna. Above his head, a bluish-gold divine core quietly floated, and an incomparably vast and icy energy faintly emanated from it. It was the Water Dragon King's divine core. Suddenly, a resonant dragon's roar rang out, and a blue light flew out from Lu Yuan's spiritual sea. Then, out of thin air, it transformed into a huge, icy blue dragon. This was the Water Dragon King's remnant soul. Chapter 984. The Water Dragon King benefited greatly from Tang Wulin's divine power. Although it was only a remnant soul, it had already taken on a corporeal form. Although it wasn't as large as the main body, it was still hundreds of meters long. It hovered above Lu Yuan's head, exuding a terrifying aura. The underground space was enormous. After all, this was where Gu Yuna had once treated her wounds. Her dragon body was hundreds of meters tall, and the underground space was thousands of meters tall. Thus, even the Water Dragon King's remnant soul could hover freely without any hindrance. An icy aura radiated from the Water Dragon King's body. It opened its enormous blue eyes and looked down at the tiny figure of Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan's body shone with golden light. His martial soul let out a series of dragon roars, and his soul power was fully charged. The Water Dragon King raised its head to the sky and roared. It transformed into a beam of blue light and disappeared into the bluish-gold divine core above Lu Yuan's head. A bluish-golden light barrier abruptly rose up, and the light barrier was so powerful that even Gu Yuna was kept out of it. No one under the god rank could break the magnetic field created by the sacrifice of a 100,000-year soul beast, let alone a divine beast like the Water Dragon King. Even a divine king couldn't stop it from burning its cultivation. The inside of the blue light shield was icy cold. With Lu Yuan as the center, the ground around him was covered in a thick layer of ice. The water vapor in the air had also condensed into ice shards, and the temperature plummeted at this moment. As the sacrificial victim, Lu Yuan wasn't affected at all. On the contrary, the bluish-gold divine core above his head made him feel very comfortable. Suddenly, the bluish-gold divine core let out a dragon's roar. The entire divine core exploded, transforming into a giant bluish-gold soul ring. This soul ring enveloped Lu Yuan's entire body, and an extremely powerful and terrifying ice-type divine power surged into Lu Yuan's body from the soul ring. Suddenly, it was as if a valve in Lu Yuan's body had been broken, and his aura started to rise rapidly. Lu Yuan closed his eyes and began to circulate the clear breath scripture. Every part of his body began to absorb the huge amount of energy that was surging into his body. His physique began to strengthen again. The Atlas palm bone, the dust gold Dreadclaw bear's right palm bone, and the golden dragon armor also began to absorb energy. The Water Dragon King was a first-rank god, and its divine core was incredibly powerful. Even though it was a sacrifice and all the energy was being absorbed by Lu Yuan, the process still took a long time. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. In the underground space, Gu Yuna sat on a stone step with her legs slightly closed. She hugged her knees with her hands and rested her chin gently on her knees. Her purple eyes stared straight at Lu Yuan, who was within the blue light barrier. Her eyes were filled with tenderness. Your aura has become much stronger. It's already comparable to a third-rank god's, Gu Yuna said softly. Gu Yuna said softly with a gentle smile on her pretty face. With her spiritual power, she could naturally feel that Lu Yuan's current aura was comparable to that of a third-tier god. The day you become a god will be the day we soul beasts change our fate, Gu Yuna murmured. With Lu Yuan's current strength, when he reached the 100th rank and became a god, his battle prowess would definitely surpass that of a god king. Coupled with her existence, there was hope for changing the fate of the soul beasts. This was the first time she saw the hope of reviving the soul beasts so close at hand. The joy in her heart was difficult to suppress. Once the matter of the soul beast is settled, I'll stay by your side forever. I'll never leave you again. Guyuna said softly. Nar, is what you said true? I heard it. A clear voice rang out. The blue light barrier exploded, and the huge blue-gold soul ring around Lu Yuan shrank. It entered the five-clawed golden dragon king martial soul and became Lu Yuan's eighth soul ring. Suddenly, a terrifying energy swept out. The entire underground space was filled with Lu Yuan's aura. Lu Yuan opened his eyes. An icy blue light flashed through his double pupils. He looked in Gu Yuna's direction with a warm smile on his face. Gu Yuna smiled gently when she saw Lu Yuan's gaze. She stood up and walked toward Lu Yuan. Nar, is what you said true? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. Gu Yuna walked in front of Lu Yuan and lowered her head to look at Lu Yuan. Of course it's true. Once we settle the future of the soul beasts, I'll leave them to DT on. When the time comes, I'll stay by your side every day. This is the happiest thing I've heard in recent days. Indeed, you've been carrying the soul beasts on your back for too long. Once we defeat the God Realm, let's cast everything aside. Let's be together wholeheartedly without any worries. Lu Yuan held Gu Yuna's hand and spoke gently. Yes, yes. Gu Yuna nodded. The smile on her face was especially sweet. Lu Yuan smiled faintly as he gently played with Gu Yuna's snow-white hand. Her jade-like fingers were smooth and flawless. Her hand felt soft and fragrant to the touch, and it felt good to the touch. I've already broken through to rank 88. Lu Yuan said softly as he played with Gu Yuna's hand. He had been at rank 80 for more than a year and a half. During this period, he had cultivated almost every day. Coupled with the power of the Water Dragon King's soul ring, if he let go of his suppression, the energy that would burst out would allow him to rush straight to rank 90. After that, he would absorb the Fire Dragon King's soul ring and break through to become a titled Douluo. However, Lu Yuan didn't do that. While increasing his soul power was important, his foundation was more important. On one hand, he tried to suppress the increase in his soul power. On the other hand, he allowed his Atlas Palm Bone, Dark Golden Terraclaw Bear's right palm bone, and Golden Dragon Armor to absorb the Divine Ring's energy and increase their quality. Under this energy, his Atlas Palm Bone and Dark Golden Terraclaw Bear's right palm bone were finally upgraded to divine tools. It could be said that apart from the Titan Giant Ape's left arm bone, the rest of Lu Yuan's soul bones had all become divine tools. Even his P-Class 3 divine body had improved to a Class 2 divine body. Under the distribution of energy from all sides, he was finally able to completely absorb the Water Dragon King's Divine Ring's energy. It had to be said that the Water Dragon King's Divine Ring's energy was extremely boundless. I know you're at rank 88. I can tell. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Gu Yuna smiled. While Lu Yuan's strength had improved greatly, it was still insufficient in front of her. With her cultivation, she could easily tell Lu Yuan's true rank. Chapter 985. In fact, she could even clearly estimate Lu Yuan's true strength. After all, a god monarch was far more powerful than the current Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan faltered slightly upon hearing Gu Yuna's words. The joy brought about by the substantial increase in his strength completely dissipated. So what if I made a breakthrough? I'm still being suppressed by my wife. Sigh, it's also very worrying that my wife is too powerful. What's wrong, Obuchi? Why aren't you saying anything? Gu Yuna waved her hand and looked at Lu Yuan in confusion. Nothing. Lu Yuan gently pulled Gu Yuna into his arms. He kissed Gu Yuna's cherry lips and said softly, there's something I want to discuss with you. What is it? Go ahead. Gu Yuna looked at Lu Yuan and said softly, it's like this. I want to comprehend the power of laws, but I also need the assistance of various special origin powers. For example, the power of the ocean of the sea god, the holy power of angels, the power of order of Azuras, and so on. So, I want to comprehend the power of creation in your body. Is that possible? Lu Yuan asked softly. I thought it was something big. So it's just a small matter. I'm already yours. So why would you be stingy with the power of creation? Gu Yuna rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan and said indifferently, I knew you were the best, Nar. Lu Yuan was overjoyed upon hearing this, and he kissed Gu Yuna's lips a few more times. I'm the best. You said the same thing to Chihiro Snow and the others, right? Gu Yuna looked at Lu Yuan with a hint of a smile. Ahem, you're all the best to me. Lu Yuan coughed and said in a serious manner, You playboy. Gu Yuna couldn't help but grumble coquettishly upon hearing Lu Yuan's words. Lu Yuan pursed his lips and didn't refute. After all, this was the truth. Then how many types of divine powers have you comprehended now? Gu Yuna asked. I've finished comprehending the sea god's oceanic power and the angel's divine power. I've only scratched the surface of the power of order. I still need to obtain the Azura godhood inheritance before I can further comprehend it. I'm still in the process of comprehending the golden dragon's destructive power. You could say I've made some progress. I've also comprehended quite a bit of the ice and fire powers of the Ice Dragon King and the Fire Dragon King. Right now, I have already comprehended about a third of the clear air god seed. Once I finish comprehending all of the god power, I should be able to comprehend more than half of the clear air god seed. If you want to continue comprehending it, you will need to obtain a new and special origin energy of all things, such as your origin energy of creation. Lu Yuan explained. I see. Gu Yuna nodded and asked again, Then do you need the special origin energy of all things to comprehend the clear air god seed? No, I can comprehend it even without it. However, it will take a lot of time. Roughly speaking, without any other assistance, even with my comprehension, it will take me at least a few hundred years to comprehend the clear air god seed. I don't have the patience to wait for such a long time. After a few hundred years, I'm afraid it will be too late. However, with the assistance of the special origin energy of all things, it will be different. My speed can be increased by tens or even hundreds of times. This is what I want. The fight against the realm of the gods cannot be delayed. Naturally, the faster the better. Otherwise, I'm afraid there will be changes if I delay. Lu Yuan said with a solemn expression. Indeed, Gu Yuna nodded slightly and agreed with Lu Yuan's words. If there was a shortcut to take, and it was a shortcut without any hidden dangers, only a fool would not take it. Then take it. I will condense my origin energy of all things into a seed and place it in your sea of consciousness. This way, you can comprehend it at any time. As Gu Yuna spoke, energy surged all over her body. A 7-colored origin energy seed emerged from between Gu Yuna's eyebrows, then slowly floated down and rushed into Lu Yuan's forehead. In the sea of consciousness, a 7-colored seed quietly emerged, exuding a mystical aura. Feeling the fluctuation coming from the sea of consciousness, Lu Yuan's face flashed with a touch of joy. Under Gu Yuna's surprised gaze, he kissed her lips, then carried her by the waist and walked towards the stone bed not far away. Lu Yuan could not repay such a great kindness. The only thing he could do was to love her. In the sky, the sun was shining brightly. Lu Yuan and Gu Yuna were holding hands, talking and laughing as they strolled beside the lake of life. Lu Yuan was wearing a white robe that had not changed for 10,000 years. His eyebrows were sharp like swords, his eyes were bright like stars, his nose was high, his lips were thin, and his face was handsome beyond compare. His long black hair was casually draped over his shoulders, and a natural and unrestrained temperament pervaded the air. On the other hand, Gu Yuna was wearing a silver dress. Her dress was inlaid with tiny gems that looked like stars in the sky. Gu Yuna's silver hair fluttered in the wind. Her purple eyes were mysterious and noble. Her face was so beautiful that it could cause the downfall of nations. She was so beautiful that she didn't seem ordinary. If there was a word to describe her beauty, it would be flawless. She was so beautiful that there was not a single flaw in her beauty. The two walked side by side, as if they were a match made in heaven. The beautiful scenery around them was overshadowed by the two of them. Everywhere they passed, they became the focus of attention. Brother and sister Na looked so compatible walking together. Wang Xiao exclaimed as she watched the two of them walk closer. Her pinkish-blue eyes were wide open. They are indeed very compatible. Xiao Wu couldn't help but exclaim softly as she watched the two of them walk together. The two of them were so good-looking that it was shocking. This was especially so when they walked together. The impact was immense. "Oh, you're all here." Lu Yuan's eyes flashed as he looked at the people in front of him. The corner of his mouth curled into a smile. Not to mention Wang Xiao and the others. Even Di Tian and the deep-sea devil whale king were all present. When they saw Lu Yuan and Gu Yuna, they hurriedly bowed. "Greetings, my lord. Greetings, my lord. Greetings, my lord." Lu Yuan nodded slightly as he glanced at the deep-sea devil whale king. Noticing Lu Yuan's gaze, the deep-sea devil whale king's body trembled. He bowed slightly and said, "I failed to live up to expectations and lost to Di Tian. Please punish me, my lord." "Punish?" Lu Yuan looked at the deep-sea devil whale king. He realized that the deep-sea devil whale king's muscles were tensed up, and it looked nervous. Although it said that it was punishing, it seemed to be very afraid. "Brother." Seeing this scene, Xiaolan ran to Lu Yuan's side and hugged Lu Yuan's empty right hand. She looked at Lu Yuan pitifully. "Brother, please don't punish my father. He hasn't fully recovered yet." Lu Yuan smiled and didn't say anything. "Brother." Xiaolan blinked her clear blue eyes as she looked at Lu Yuan. She was very cute. She pouted her mouth and acted spoiled towards Lu Yuan. Chapter 986. Xiaolan's adorable appearance was extremely lethal when he acted coquettishly. That adorable little face really made people's hearts melt just by looking at it. Lu Yuan stared at Xiaolan with his double pupils. The corner of his mouth curled up, and there was a doting look in his eyes. "Since Xiaolan has spoken, I'll let you off this time. There's no need to mention any punishment," Lu Yuan said plainly. "Thank you, sir." The deep-sea demonic whale king's tensed body slightly relaxed, and its heart also settled into its stomach. To be honest, it was really afraid that Lu Yuan would drag it into a tutorial class. The result of that was needless to say. It would definitely be beaten to a pulp. It did not want to be beaten half to death. Now that Lu Yuan had said so, he was finally able to escape a calamity. Yeah, elder brother is the best. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Xiaolan was elated. Her cute little face turned red, and she was extremely cute. She took 2 steps forward and kissed Lu Yuan on the cheek. She had learned this from Wang Xiao. They were both sisters, and she should be able to do what Wang Xiao could do. Ever since she ran into Lu Yuan's room in the middle of the night and was scolded by Lu Yuan, Xiaolan had learned a lot. She didn't know what she could do, but she knew to learn. Wang Xiao had the same status as her, so she had been watching what Wang Xiao did. When she saw Wang Xiao kiss Lu Yuan on the cheek, not only was Lu Yuan not angry, but he was also very happy. Hence, she followed suit. This girl, don't be fooled by her naivety. Her little brain was actually quite useful. After kissing Lu Yuan on the cheek, Xiaolan stared at Lu Yuan with her big eyes and giggled, hee hee. When he saw Xiaolan like this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. He took his hand out and rubbed her head gently. When she felt the warmth on her head, Xiaolan closed her eyes comfortably. Lu Yuan rubbed her head for a while before holding her hand and walking forward again. "Brother." Wang Xiao leapt into Lu Yuan's arms and stared at Lu Yuan with her big, pinkish blue eyes. "Elder brother, you haven't come out for half a month. Big brother has something to do, so he doesn't have time to come out," Lu Yuan said softly. Hearing this, Gu Yuna blushed slightly. She did have something to do, and it took quite a long time. "Big brother, have you been bullying big sister Nara?" However, it wasn't that long last time, only 3 or 4 days. This time, it's been more than half a month. Wang Xiao tilted her head and asked doubtfully. Lu Yuan's mouth twitched as he met Wang Xiao's gaze. Gu Yuna's face turned even redder. It It would have been fine if someone else had said this, but it was a little hard for Wang Qiu, who had always been pure and innocent. Especially when he saw her pure eyes, Lu Yuan didn't know what to say. Ahem, it's not what you think. Big Brother's strength broke through, and he absorbed his 8th soul ring. That's why he wasted a lot of time. Lu Yuan coughed and said, "Oh." Wang Qiu nodded and revealed an enlightened look on her face. "Big Brother, you should spend more time with Qiu from now on. We haven't seen each other for so long, and Qiu misses you. Of course, I'll be here with the two of you for the next few months." Lu Yuan smiled gently. Big Brother is the best. Wang Qiu cheered and hugged Lu Yuan tightly again. Xiaolan didn't want to be outdone, and she squeezed in as well. The two of them squeezed Gu Yuna out. Lu Yuan glanced at Gu Yuna, and there was an apologetic look in his eyes. Gu Yuna shook her head, indicating that she didn't mind. She was still very magnanimous, and she wouldn't fight with the two of them for Hua Yuhao's attention. After hugging the two of them for a while, Lu Yuan gently released them. He swept his gaze over to Di Tian, who was watching quietly from one side. Di Tian's body trembled when he saw Hua Yuhao's sudden gaze. He had a bad feeling in his heart. "Di Tian, have you recovered from your injuries?" Lu Yuan asked softly. "Your Honor, I've recovered from my injuries." Di Tian answered honestly. "That's good. Are you interested in playing a few rounds with me? I saw that you had a hard time winning the last time, and you still need to improve your abilities. Coincidentally, I also want to find someone to fight to improve my abilities. Why don't we give it a try?" Lu Yuan asked with a chuckle. "Your Honor, I don't think there's a need for that." Di Tian's bad feeling became stronger and stronger, and he immediately replied, "You're not willing? Di Tian, are you looking down on me?" Lu Yuan asked faintly. Di Tian was stunned when he heard this. Gu Yuna's cold gaze also made his heart tremble. Looking down on Lu Yuan? How would he dare to do that? If Gu Yuna thought that he was looking down on Lu Yuan, even if he didn't die, he would at least lose a layer of skin. No one knew Gu Yuna's protector better than him. Forget it, forget it. I can't avoid this fight anymore." Di Tian revealed a bitter smile. Lu Yuan hadn't come out for the past few days, and he had discussed with the deep-sea demonic whale king. He knew that Lu Yuan's abilities had long surpassed his. Back then, Lu Yuan said that he would beat him up in the future. He didn't take it to heart, and even said that he would wait. However, it seemed like those words were about to come true. "I don't dare to. Let's leave this matter to your honor." Di Tian gritted his teeth and said this. "Very good. Let's play in the sky, then." Lu Yuan smiled and patted the heads of the two little girls in his arms. Wang Qiu and Xiaolan immediately squirmed out from Lu Yuan's arms. "Brother, you can do it." The two little girls clenched their little fists and cheered for Lu Yuan. "You can do it." Xiao Wu's encouraging voice came from his side. Lu Yuan smiled and nodded. He took a step forward and flew into the sky in a flash. Di Tian's body moved, and he also rose into the air, standing right in front of Lu Yuan. "Do you still remember how you looked when you captured me back then?" "Just like that." Lu Yuan stretched out his right hand and said, "Just like catching a chick. I remember." Di Tian said, "You don't have any objections to being beaten up, right?" Lu Yuan asked. Lu Yuan didn't hide his intentions. He believed that Di Tian had already seen through it. "I don't have any objections. I said that I would wait for this day to come. However, Your Honor, I won't allow myself to be captured." Di Tian said softly. His words were very clear. "You can beat me up, but you have to show me your true abilities." "Of course. Otherwise, what's the point of beating someone who can't resist? I'll give you another chance. If you can last 10 moves without being defeated, I'll stop immediately. I won't beat you up anymore. How's that? I'm merciful enough, right?" Lu Yuan said. "Sir, are you serious?" Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Di Tian immediately rejoiced. Although he had heard from the deep-sea magic whale king how terrifying Lu Yuan's strength was, and Di Tian did not think that he would be a match for him in his heart, Di Tian was still confident that he could last for 10 moves. As the #1 savage beast on the continent, the beast god, Di Tian had his own confidence and pride. Chapter 987. Of course I'm serious. I'm not going to lie about this kind of thing. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Thank you for your kindness, Your Honor. A smile appeared on Di Tian's face. In his opinion, this was just an excuse Lu Yuan came up with to not beat him up. Everything that happened back then was ordered by his lordship. Actually, if his lordship wanted to settle the score, he should have looked for his lordship. However, with his lordship's relationship with his lordship, it was impossible for his lordship to settle the score with his lordship. Thus, his lordship settled the score with me. At that time, his honor said those words out of anger, and now that the time has come, I naturally can't go back on my words, otherwise his honor's prestige would be damaged. However, his honor also knows that I am innocent, thus his honor intentionally gave me this opportunity to let me off. As long as I can withstand 10 moves from his honor would have a reason to let me go, and his honor would not go back on his words. Furthermore, I would be able to escape from this calamity. This is truly the best of both worlds. As expected of his honor is extremely intelligent. Di Tian smiled faintly as his imagination ran wild. Lu Yuan looked at the smiling Di Tian with a strange expression on his face. Did this guy think that he was going to let Di Tian off the hook by giving him 10 moves? The truth was that he didn't even need 10 moves to defeat him. How did he let him go? He had wanted to beat Di Tian up for a very long time. It was just that he was not strong enough. But now, with his strength, beating Di Tian up was like playing around. Di Tian wasn't even a false divinity, and a false divinity couldn't even withstand a single blow from the current Lu Yuan. The gap between them was rather huge. Are you ready? I'm going to start, Lu Yuan said calmly. Your Honor, please, Di Tian replied. Then I won't stand on ceremony. Lu Yuan chuckled, and the five-clawed golden dragon king martial soul instantly appeared in his body. Dazzling golden light burst out, and a terrifying dragon power instantly filled the air. 8 soul rings, 6 red, 1 golden, and 1 icy blue, shone brightly beneath Lu Yuan's feet. Lu Yuan's aura suddenly erupted like a flash flood. His aura was almost tangible, and a golden pillar of light shot into the sky with Lu Yuan at its center, instantly causing the weather to change. The cloudless sky suddenly filled up with clouds as lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The aura of a divine-level expert was not to be trifled with. Each and every move of his could bring about huge changes. Seeing this, Gu Yuna's expression changed. Her figure flashed, and she instantly disappeared on the spot, entering the underground space. Once a deity's aura erupted, it would immediately attract the attention of the deity realm. Lu Yuan forgot about it for a while, but Gu Yuna knew it very well, so she immediately disappeared from the spot. She couldn't reveal her identity for the time being, and she couldn't let the god realm know that she had recovered from her injuries. As for the others, it was fine. Even if there were a few soul beasts in human form among them, they were still nothing in the eyes of the god realm. Deity realm committee. The moment Lu Yuan unleashed his god-tier aura, the good and evil god kings, who were in charge of the center of the god realm, immediately sensed it. They immediately summoned the god of Azura, the god of destruction, and the goddess of life. Why have you summoned us? The god of destruction asked first. I found something interesting. Look, the god of evil waved his right hand in the air, and an image appeared in front of them. It was the scene of Lu Yuan and Di Tian confronting each other. That white-robed youth isn't even 19 years old, but his cultivation has already reached the rank 88 Soul Douluo of the Douluo Plain. What's even more shocking is that his strength is comparable to that of a Class 3 god. I've never seen such a genius in all my years in charge of the god realm. The god of evil spoke softly, and there was a rare look of surprise on his cold and evil face. As one of the rulers of the god realm, he had seen countless so-called prodigies, but there were very few who could catch his eye. However, Lu Yuan was the first person who had surprised him. His aura was comparable to that of a Class 3 god at rank 88. If he became a god in the future, how powerful would he be? Even he couldn't help but be shocked when he thought of this. After hearing the god of evil's words, the god of Azura, the goddess of life, and the god of destruction all looked over. Almost at the same time, a look of surprise flashed across their eyes. It seems like you all know this person. The god of evil saw their expressions and said indifferently, "We do know him. I once left behind some small things in a ruin in the Douluo world. In the end, these things were taken away by this young man. At that time, I only thought that he was quite talented, but I didn't expect him to have grown to such a height." Little Z was there at that time and saw everything. The goddess of life said softly, "Is that so, Destruction?" The god of evil asked. "Indeed," the god of destruction said. "Azura, where do you know him?" The gentle voice of the god of kindness sounded. It was different from the god of evil's evil charm and coldness. The god of kindness gave people a feeling of endless beauty and warmth. He is one of the participants who passed my first test of Azura. He is also one of the only 2 people in the world who have cultivated the power of Azura from the god of death's domain. The god of Azura's cold voice sounded. "So, Azura, are you declaring your sovereignty?" The god of evil asked indifferently. Was the god of Azura worried that they would snatch him away? "I didn't mean that. You've misunderstood. I'm just speaking the truth," the god of Azura said indifferently. This was the inheritor that he valued. How could he give it away? As for Tang Chun, he had not been able to break free from the influence of Rakshasa for so many years. He was afraid that this would be the end of his life. Moreover, Tang Chen's body was already on the verge of collapse. Even if he woke up, he would not be able to live for more than a few days after being injected with the overbearing power of Azura. At that time, Lu Yuan would be the only one he could choose. Moreover, Lu Yuan's talent was so high that he was quite satisfied. He had already become a nobody in the god world. Now that he had a chance to shift the blame, how could he let go of this opportunity? Even the god of death would not be able to snatch someone away from him. Misunderstanding my ass. That's what you're thinking. Don't worry, I won't snatch him away from you. Although this kid is very talented, he is still only one person. I will have to hand over the god of kindness and the god of death's position together. The god of evil said calmly. The god of Azura was silent, but he was relieved. Although he came first and was the strongest in the god world, the god of evil was still the god of death. If he insisted on snatching Yi Futian away, it would be troublesome. Did the god of death call us here just to see this? The god of destruction said indifferently. No matter how strong Yi Futian's talent was, it had nothing to do with them. Look at that kid's martial soul and bloodline. Don't you think it's a little too strong? The strength of his bloodline is even stronger than that of the dragon god. I'm a little worried, the god of evil said. Chapter 988. God King, what are you worried about? Are you worried about a repeat of the battle of the dragon gods? God King, you're worrying too much. The Azura god said aloud. What do you mean by that? Do you want to harm my successor? It wasn't easy for me to find a suitable successor. Don't tell me you want to kill him. Azura, you have to be on your guard. His bloodline is a little dangerous. I've never seen that bloodline before, but it seems to contain a hint of the Golden Dragon King's bloodline. How can I not be worried? The evil God King said. God King, you're worrying too much. No matter how strong this young man's bloodline is, he's still a human. He has no conflict with us, the life goddess said gently. Little Green is right. Moreover, this young man hasn't violated any of the God Realm's prohibitions. The God Realm doesn't allow soul beasts to become gods, but this young man is a human. Although he has the bloodline of the Dragon Clan, he's still a human. According to the rules, he could become a god. The Destruction God said aloud. Although he had an attitude of absolute suppression against soul beasts, as a God Realm law enforcer, he was absolutely fair and just. He did everything according to the rules of the God Realm and would not overstep his boundaries. Since Lu Yuan didn't violate any prohibitions, he naturally wouldn't do anything to Lu Yuan. It seems that you don't intend to do anything to him. Kindness is the same as you, so that's it. But you have to keep an eye on him. He's so talented that it won't be difficult for him to inherit the Azura godhood. Once he becomes the Azura god, his strength will definitely skyrocket. I'm afraid he won't be weaker than the dragon god back then, or even stronger. If he wholeheartedly serves the god realm will naturally prosper. But if, and I'm saying if, he has any bad intentions, it will definitely be a huge disaster for the god realm. He's acting normal now and hasn't done anything unusual. We can't violate the rules of the god realm and do anything to him, but we have to keep an eye on him. Once we confirm that he has bad intentions towards the god realm, we have to eliminate him immediately. Do you understand? The evil god king asked. Understood. The life goddess and the destruction god nodded slightly. God king, don't worry. Since he's my successor, I'll naturally be responsible. If he has any ill intentions towards the god realm, I'll eliminate him immediately. But if he's acting normal, I'll provide him with the protection he deserves. Azura, God, said lightly. I still have some matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave first. Azura God cupped his hands and turned to leave the temple. Then little Z and I will take our leave as well. The goddess of life said softly and turned to leave with the god of destruction. Seeing the three of them leave, evil god king said unhappily, why did this Shura have such a big reaction? It's like I'm a bad guy. It wasn't easy for the Shura god to find an inheritor and one who is destined to pass the test. Of course, he will pay attention to him. However, the Shura god is a law enforcement god. He will pay attention to what he needs to pay attention to. If the young man really has any ideas, the Shura god will deal with him immediately. If you don't have any other thoughts, then it's also a good thing for our divine realm to have an even more powerful Azura god. This way, our divine realm can become more and more powerful. The kind God King comforted him gently. You're right. I hope I'm just overthinking things. Otherwise, it would be a pity to kill such an outstanding genius. The evil God King said, I wonder how talented the young man's girlfriend is. If there's nothing wrong with the young man and his girlfriend's talent is also good, we can, as he spoke, the evil God King paused and glanced at the kind goddess. Didn't you say that you won't be Shura God's inheritor? Now you're thinking of snatching him away? The kind God King asked, amused by the evil God King's words. I said that I won't snatch him away when he's alone because we have to hand over the godly position together. However, if his girlfriend's talent is also very high, then it won't go against my words. Moreover, we can just choose someone together with the Shura God. No one said that we can't do that. The evil God King laughed. You're very cunning. The kind God King laughed. This isn't cunning, this is smart. However, let's let the Shura God scout the way first. If we want to pass on the godly position, we have to at least make sure that the young man doesn't have any ulterior motives. I can't be bothered with such an exhausting task. It just so happens that the Shura God is interested. We can use him reasonably, the evil God King said. You. The kind God King rolled her eyes at the evil God King with a gentle smile. In the sky above the great star-doe forest, Lu Yuan glanced at the sky with a serious expression. He had just sent DT on flying with a slap, and a bad premonition surfaced in his heart. He felt that there were a few gazes sweeping over him. Someone is spying on me. Is it the God realm? It seems like the aura I unleashed has attracted their attention. Lu Yuan frowned slightly as he muttered to himself. I was so happy that I actually forgot about this. It seems like I have to be more careful in the future. Lu Yuan thought to himself. The aura of a god would attract the attention of the god realm. Lu Yuan knew this. However, he had just broken through and was overjoyed, so he actually forgot about this. This time, they've noticed me. I'm sure that I've become their target of observation. This is troublesome. Normally, it wouldn't matter, but I can't let them know about some of my private matters. It's easy to hide from their senses. I can easily do it with my clear, godly power. However, I can't hide it for too long. Otherwise, it'll easily attract the attention of those fellows in the god realm. There's also Nar. I'm afraid I won't be able to see her often. Damn it. Thinking of this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel annoyed. Damn gods. I'll teach you a lesson sooner or later. Lu Yuan's eyes carried a trace of killing intent. He hated the feeling of being spied on the most. Furthermore, they were forcing him to not see his woman often. This made him even more annoyed. In the end, I'm still not strong enough. If I were strong enough now, would I still have to worry about such trivial matters? Lu Yuan clenched his fists with a determined look on his face. After this incident, his thirst for power grew even stronger. I'll take advantage of the fact that no one's spying on me now to discuss this with Na-Er. A day in the God Realm is a year in the Douluo continent. They've just noticed me, so they shouldn't be spying on me for a while. This is the perfect time for me to spend some time with Na-Er. In the future, we won't have many chances to see each other. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.